on hold.
Wendy, Wendy, please give me 1 minute.
What's that?
Please give me
We're
1
not
minute.
reporting.
Oh.
Thank you.
There she is. Thank you, Nancy.
There was two.
All right, we're live and recording.
Okay, all right, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 8:08 on Thursday, June 9th. Start with a roll call. Mike?
Mike Copel, member.
Whether you're asking, remember.
Rich Rita, select board ex officio.
On Zoom, Bill Scott, to start us off.
Bill Spence, member.
Bill Larson,
Alternate,
Alan.
Alan Burko, alternate.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and see Alan and Bill Larson? We're going to put the review of the previous meeting minutes on hold and try to quickly back through the rest of the infrastructure.
Having difficulty hearing Wendy.
All right, we're going to put the review of the previous meeting minutes on hold and go through the chapter 7 infrastructure master plan bits that were not done at the workshop in May 26th. Another item on our agenda, we are looking for person. Lights, waiting for Sean for that. So let's go ahead. Tara, do you want to kick us off? I've got some notes here from John as far as what was and was not done, but I'm sure you can lead us through it.
I need to be able to share my screen.
And
Is somebody working on that?
yes, Steve is working on that. Sorry.
In her little box.
She's all set.
She's all set.
Sarah, you're ready to go when you like to.
Thank you.
So we left off in two places because we skipped over some things to go on to water and sewer. I think where we started skipping over was at the Curious George cottage.
Did we finish water and sewer in your notes?
No,
Tara?
we didn't. If you want to go back
Yeah, let's go back there.
here, then we're starting with water supply.
Page 102.
All right.
So for me, it's 101, and I don't know if that's, why that would be, but here we are. So
On the 419.
we talk about, well, it's the June 8th now, because I've dated it today, but it would have been we worked on it at your last meeting, so.
And she made changes, so there's gonna be a little bit of difference.
Yeah, so if we talk in terms of which paragraph we're looking at, we'll all be on the same page.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
So the first paragraph of water supply.
Any input, Dylan?
No, that seems.
Dylan, you're good with the water supply.
The sentence that starts a major drawback By the end of this year, we have a contract that we are currently working on that's going to give us redundancy.
Well, don't we, Mark, didn't the information you gave me goes on to say that, right? You say the town's currently making improvements and then you discuss it more in detail in the rest of the section, so.
All I'm pointing out is because we do put that in there, should we have that sentence though? Because by the time the board adopts this, we're gonna have that project finished and it won't be a major drawback anymore.
Is it just the?
Or is it just the-
Currently.
Well, no, it could also be that is a drawback of our system, period. That all of our water is on the west side of the river.
But major drawback sounds.
Yeah.
Like a huge issue. It is.
Well, it is an issue in that we have to keep that redundancy going. I'm just wondering if,
Maybe it's the next sentence.
Instead of saying major drawback, why not just say major?
It's really hard for me to follow a conversation when multiple people are talking,
All right.
like they're impossible, not hard.
okay,
So Mark, you want to change it to a challenge?
yes,
Because it's
That
always
would-
going to be a challenge.
that's correct.
So we'll change drawback to challenge.
Well,
Instead of major drawback, say a challenge.
do we have inactive wells?
Currently,
No,
yes.
So what do we say, 3 active wells?
no,
We want to say that?
3 active wells.
That's
The
That'll be. it's like that
inactive
forever.
well, I would have kept the inactive well if it was still registered with DES, but that has lapsed. So we
So
are,
it is no longer.
it is no
functional-
longer a
it's no longer a functional well.
that's correct.
Okay.
It's gone.
Okay, anything else in this paragraph for water supply? then?
No, that's my only.
Okay, so we're good with that. You want to move on to the centralized water treatment building? Is there anything, Dylan or Mark, that you want to cover with that?
I don't see anything of an issue with the first paragraph. The only thing,
Will we say the town?
Will you let Dylan- will you let Dylan
Oh,
finish?
sorry, but
if you have something to say, Mike, on the first paragraph, go for it. I was just gonna jump down to the second paragraph. So if you have something,
no, I'm sorry, jump it down.
in the second paragraph, I would just add that the system provides mixing of chemicals added into the clear well of the drinking water supply.
Into the clear well.
That's mentioned.
Sorry, I need somebody who's speaking into a microphone to tell me where I'm adding language and what.
So the system provides pre-mixing of chemicals added into the clear well of the water supply. Is that correct?
Of the drinking water.
No, so the building, so we're under centralized water treatment, Tara. The second sentence talks about a 25 or 22,500 gallon concrete holding tank. After that sentence, I'm sorry, in the next paragraph.
Yeah.
The chemicals added into the water supply at the mixing tank. At the mixing tank should be added after water supply.
I can hear you well, Mark, so this is a good process.
Instead of saying from drinking well number 4.
It is in here, at the clear well. CWTD, just abbreviate.
Yeah, we should probably expand that abbreviation.
Exactly.
Well.
It actually is
at the very
expanded up the top.
We say centralized water.
Right.
treatment
That's fine.
Why do you call it Clearwell?
Don't call it Clearwell, use the same terminology. of-
We have it up here. I can put it in the title too, if that's gonna
Yeah,
be helpful.
Centralized water. That's
so why don't you add a parentheses at the, yes, CWTB, thank you. So the first sentence of the second paragraph, the system provides pre-mixing of chemicals added into the water supply at the mixing tank.
Period.
I see.
And then delete from drinking well number 4 at the CWTB. So it would read, the system provides pre-mixing of chemicals added into the water supply at the mixing tank prior to introduction into the distribution system.
Got it.
Is the next sentence, will that be done prior to acceptance?
Well, it's gonna be close. You're gonna be accepting it at the same time. I'd leave it the way that it is. And then,
Because this says that it is going to happen.
yeah,
In the future.
it's happening, but.
I'm just asking
It's gonna
questions.
be finished. So-
Okay,
It's it's really great to have things you've already done when you adopt the plan. That can be something to point to as success.
I leave it on there so we have something to check off the action plan right away.
Exactly.
Exactly.
okay, just,
Okay.
And the rest of that paragraph
I read
is
it.
good.
I have
Yes.
I have a simple question.
Yep.
When we say up above that we have 3 active wells, when we took out number 4, so it's not as bad. So I guess the numbering of 2 and 3.
The
doesn't
next
look as bad.
page 102/103, whichever,
Yeah.
under the third, after the centralized treatment building.
Yeah, I see that.
Is well number 1, it's gone. So
So,
we're using 2, 3, and 4.
so should we get rid of well number 1? Is that
No,
what you're saying?
I believe it, though, it's no longer in service and
Okay.
that the well house will be torn down.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Why do we-
so if we're set with
I
the,
had a comment
go ahead, Nance.
about that. So the paragraph right above well number 1 in pump house title
Yeah.
that starts pursuant.
Yeah.
So we mentioned the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services a lot before in this chapter. Does it make sense to write it out and put a parentheses with the abbreviation here?
I'm sorry, I need to pause myself for 1 second.
That is.
Okay.
I saw that, but I think it
That's
does
what's
because-
here, that's what I've got, it says
No, I'm-
NH Department of Environmental Services.
Yes, but I'm saying that it's already been mentioned, like if you looked at the.
Oh, just say NHDES?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's mentioned like a
Yeah, I mean, I
lot
would
in
only
this
do it if we
chapter.
need to remind because we haven't done it.
Yeah,
It's not close. Well, it's kind of
Well,
close, I guess.
The
Right.
whole chapter, I think, may.
yeah, right before it's mentioned.
So, what it,
But not in the same subsection. I don't care.
Well, if you
I
look
mean,
above
it's a-
water supply and page 102, it's EPA and NHDES in the sentence right above it. So you've already mentioned it as an abbreviation before this, so it does not make sense to put it down here.
Okay,
But I'm pretty sure we should just put it at the very first mention in the chapter, wherever that is.
okay. I know Tara had some family stuff to take care of, so that's why she's taking this little pause. So
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll asterisk that, so we'll go back to mention that to her.
Okay.
So well 1 and pump house, that description is fine.
yes, that's good.
Well house and drinking water, well number 2.
The only thing that I would change is in the first sentence, and it's just really, I guess the word, but this is gravel pack well to gravel pack well.
Packed, okay.
Good.
Good. So nothing else in that paragraph?
No, that's good.
Anyone at the table, anything on that?
No, that building is. It was the-
Tara, move the screen up.
What's that?
The,
She's away right now, Bill. We'll do that.
okay,
Yeah,
so,
Tara has a family thing to go, so I'm asterisking the things that we're noting.
Well, it's gonna be hard for them to follow.
That the screen isn't moving.
Oh,
You just
do you
have,
guys not have copies in front of you? No.
okay, I'll move to another screen then and keep going.
Drinking well number 3, any,
I have a silly question.
Same thing in the, hold on, just same thing in the second line there. It's a gravel packed well.
okay,
Go ahead.
If the town has a sustained electrical outage, does that affect the system?
Yes, there's a mention
I'm just,
at the.
I haven't gotten to it. I missed it.
I'll need to catch up with the tape. I had to take a call from the hospital. Where are we now?
there were just a couple points, Tara. Do you want to review the tape or I can go back? There's 2 things.
Well, that's probably quickest and less money for you if you just tell me now.
Okay, so above well number 1 and the chapter starting with pursuant.
Yep.
We felt like the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services had been explained previously in that chapter, so just the acronym would be fine.
You think, are you sure? I try to, I mean, I'd been asked earlier to add more of those things, like when we're starting each section.
But it's in that section on the previous page.
Right, I just want to be sure that I'm not undoing things I've already been asked to do, so.
Yeah,
All right,
I mean, I guess just if you just make a note to hunt for all that stuff, because it is abbreviated without it being written out in this actual discussion of the pumps, previous page.
so what would you like to see?
Just NHDES.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff probably just for each chapter, you probably just need to do it, once in the first mention of each. In each
Okay,
chapter.
is the board all in agreement with that? Because I'd been asked to add, I'd already changed it all in the other direction throughout the plan to add more explanatory language, like in each section rather than just the beginning of each chapter. So I've gone
Right.
through and made those changes that way.
Okay.
Oh, it's fine with me to do at the beginning of each section, but even that, I would do it then the first mention of in this section, which is not there here. That's all I'm saying. This is not the first mention of NHDS in this section.
Okay, got it.
And then the next thing was under well house and drinking water well number 2, as well as number 3, they're gravel packed with an ED after the pack.
Whoops.
That was all that was in for number 2, and then the same thing happened for well number 3. And that's where we're at.
Great.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption, but I got good news from the hospital for a change.
Awesome, excellent. Mark had something?
So, Mike, going back to Mike's question about sustained electrical outage.
Yep.
If you go to the second paragraph of the centralized water treatment building section,
Hang on.
at the very end of it, the last sentence. The Connection River Crossing project also includes the installation of backup power generator.
Good,
And that will take care of everything.
nice. Okay,
And that's why we're putting the generators.
All right, so
Yep, so we're good.
okay.
soon,
You see that, Mike?
Soon, soon.
fingers crossed.
It's on order.
in my
All
lifetime.
right,
Yeah.
so,
And that is that doesn't matter. It's there.
okay, so can we move on to drinking water well number 4?
Oh,
Same thing with act.
Yeah. You see that, Tara?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, good, thank you. Everything else okay in that paragraph?
Yep.
Okay. Water storage reservoir number 1 and number 2.
Okay, I've got something. Just waiting. So the third sentence, starting with the reservoirs, there should be a by inserted between granted and the, so it reads granted by the WBBTS Ski Educational Foundation.
Wait, sorry.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I would probably in the middle of the paragraph where it says Snows Mountain Ski Slope, I probably wouldn't, I don't know, is it a name so that ski slope should be capitalized? I've just never seen ski slope capitalized like that. It's just weird, but
No.
It's not a ski area anymore.
Yeah.
So I would.
yeah, I would not capitalize it. Snows Mountain would be capitalized, but ski slope is just, it's like saying sidewalk. I wouldn't capitalize it.
Do we need to say ski slope at all?
You have to describe it somehow.
Yeah, it's a maintained
I
slope
would
area.
rather, because Snows Mountain is a large.
Yeah.
Large
feature,
area.
Yeah.
And I'd
There's a lot
rather
of it.
that people go
Okay.
there on the ski slope.
That's fine.
If that's all right.
Yep.
Nancy, when you say it's like sidewalk, are you saying it's one word?
No,
No,
I'm just saying
no.
it's not capitalized.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I was about to Google ski slope as one word.
No. That's not what I meant.
Okay, anything else for
I
that?
would make the last word of that paragraph reservoirs.
Oh, plural.
I have an
Where,
inspection.
where are we?
The
Sorry.
last,
Same paragraph as the ski slope correction, the last word should be plural.
reservoirs,
Where's reservoirs?
water storage reservoir.
Oh,
1
no,
and
they're
2.
talking about reservoir 1. Never mind, disregard that comment.
Oh, okay.
Leave it.
I have a question.
Wait, let's make
I'm
sure we're
sorry.
clear. We're good.
It refers to reservoir 1,
Okay.
that sentence. Leave it
Okay,
single.
never mind.
Never mind.
What was it?
Where we say the reservoirs were last inspected in July 2021.
Yeah.
I assume that there has to be regular periodic inspection.
Every 5 years.
Can we say that?
No, it's not a hard and fast regulation. That's our maintenance program. I just say when the last time they were done. Because it's not a state regulation that we do it.
No, it's ours.
No, it's
But we
not
don't
our,
have anything locking us into 5 years.
sometimes we'll do it every, we might do it after 3 years, we might wait 7 years.
Well, and then what I would say, a lot inspected 2021 and are inspected by the town periodically.
Well, why not just leave it like that? Are you thinking that implies that it's not inspected much?
Yeah. I am. I'm saying that, we inspected it then, and who knows if we're ever gonna inspect it again.
So reservoirs are periodically inspected and were last inspected in July of
Yeah.
2021.
Something like that. I'm not a wordsmither, but I think that,
Okay, did you get that, Tara?
You know what I'm saying?
Richard?
No, there's too many people talking. Sorry.
Yeah. Rich, why don't you repeat what you said?
So Tara, in the sentence that now reads the reservoirs were last inspected,
Hmm?
add the reservoirs are periodically inspected and were last inspected. It's not quite right, but we can fix that in July of 2021.
How about if I say the reservoirs are periodically inspected most recently in July 2020,
perfect.
Cool.
and then just get rid of the and put in a semicolon in.
I just think that it's
No,
important,
good fix.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Anything else for that paragraph then?
Maybe inspected periodically sounds better. Sorry, but well,
Whatever you feel.
let's
is-
get it right.
Good wordsmithing.
Reservoirs are inspected periodically. Yeah,
Periodically.
that
And
makes
we were
sense.
last done
We have
in
most recent.
July, and most recently done in July of
It,
2020.
it says the town.
Yeah.
Takes care of it.
All right, can we move on to distribution system?
I just have one correction. So because this is going to get adopted at a later date than today, we have to include green fee development for the water.
And
water
Golden
hydrants
Heights.
and Golden Heights for the fire hydrants. So let's change that to 85 hydrant system.
85?
Yeah.
There have been some added, plus we have the new ones coming in.
Okay.
So it's a total of 85 right now.
85 fire hydrants.
Yes.
Wow. Is it still 11.9 miles?
Yes. Well,
No,
No.
It would be a little,
we will get you an updated number of the mileage
They're putting
of
stuff in
pipes
now.
because of the new stuff that's going in now.
but this is
All right, I'll highlight that so we remember.
water.
There's still some in-
I know, we're gonna add another 10 mile.
we just confirm it.
Just confirm.
Either confirm this number or absolute number.
What if you just said over 12?
No,
May not be.
we're not. We're gonna look at it.
We
We'll
don't
get
have
a
to-
number to Tara.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay,
Wouldn't it be fine to say about 12 and
Yeah.
move on?
Yeah, I would be okay with about.
I don't think you need an exact number. If you did, we'd have feet in here.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody's getting
okay,
hung up on that number.
so,
It's just better to be done and move on.
yeah, so next paragraph.
Is it normally, do you normally have the periods of VIP? You do, okay.
You want to put an abbreviation, plastic pipe HDPE as well, since we have an abbreviation.
Whatever.
The line.
Whatever you think, will be the, it makes sense, I mean. for-
Yeah, after plastic pipe, HDPE, no periods.
Oops.
Sorry, where is
Is it
it?
HD or HT?
HD Delta.
Okay, sorry.
It's the very first sentence.
Okay,
But it,
okay. Move on to the next paragraph, or I guess it continues on to the next page, wait.
That's the VIP.
next paragraph. So,
Can we change? A study should be performed or will be performed?
Nothing is funded right now, so you should read it, should, in my opinion.
yeah,
Okay, I'm just saying, I like this, I like to say reactive, you know,
If you were to make a change, I would just make it active voice, but it's not.
that's why
it'll end up in our action plan,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you could say the town should perform, if you wanted to make it active voice.
Could you say as recommended?
It does say here below that the program of replacement should be developed and funded by means of capital. improvement.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
leave it
we
alone then.
have to do it.
Leave it alone then.
Is it capital improvement plan or improvement?
Capital improvements.
So there is an S?
Yeah, because we
technically,
do it.
you guys call it a plan. This is the language I got from you, but it's technically called a capital improvements program.
No, that's not legal.
That's not what we call it.
All right, that's fine. I mean, technically under state law, it's called a program, but you can obviously call it a plan and
Perhaps the planning board at a later date can,
Not
we
today.
can look at
not
that,
today, but
Right.
could vote to change it.
it doesn't matter. I was just checking.
all right. So anything further in that paragraph before water system security?
So, and I'm just not sure how it's usually said. So you say road reconstructions because it's more than one road?
Either way.
Yeah, we can say it however you you want to be plural or not, it's.
Oh, no, I'm just, I mean, if it's your terminology, I don't want to
Well,
mess with
it's-
it.
we're trying to get across the idea that each time we look at a road reconstruction project, we should be looking at the water and sewer lines. And that's why it's plural.
So would
Because
you
it's gonna
say,
be more than one project.
so would you say,
going forward.
might be broken.
for lay people, is it easier to understand like road reconstruction projects?
That's fine.
That might be easier for us, people who don't.
All right, good, got it.
Okay. So water system security. Anything in there?
Will be improved.
No, that's.
Do we want to put a date on that?
No. I don't want to be.
Especially these days, I know, it just would read better with dates, but these days.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that covers water system?
I'm letting Dylan know.
Yep, all right, thank you for
Thank
coming,
you.
Dylan.
let's get our.
All right,
security done.
what,
How much? Another
Thank
one.
you.
yeah,
Being at the sewage plant is better than being at the planning board, because he's leaving.
all right, where do you
sorry.
need to go? Alan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry to go back a little bit, but back up before water system security. We say replace pipe, but replace pipe with what?
Other pipe?
Yeah, but are we gonna do the iron pipe or are we gonna do the plastic pipe?
It depends. There are a lot of variables with that, Alan, and it's a case by case basis.
Okay, then
So
I'm
we
fine
have
with that.
to- Yeah, we'd have to evaluate that each time we look at a project.
And I don't think it, I mean, the paragraph starts off with talking about the deteriorating, so I don't think it's key central to the point here.
Okay,
So I think if you wanna, do you wanna circle back to where we left off last time?
Yes, let's
So
do
we
that.
don't forget it.
Yeah,
Okay,
That was the Curious George Cottage is where we'd pick up.
Where is that?
now, you had received a rewrite for that, right?
What
No,
date
I
do you want?
received a rewrite for the Ray Center.
Oh, okay.
Nonprofit recreation providers that I'm gonna use to fact check what I have, because I had already rewritten their extensive material to make it fit the style and you know, size better. So,
Okay,
so, but you're correct. I mean, we're in there twice and some of their points I'll check in here too. It might,
okay.
what they gave me probably covers this too, but
98.
but
Alright,
this
so
this wasn't the section they were given to check. The
Okay,
other
all
one.
right. So Curious George Cottage and our printout, I think is 98.
Yeah, in the printout.
Am I changing?
I'm still alive in ninety-eight.
What?
When it was donated, was Han still alive?
No,
Is
There
this, did they have the wrong year for when it was donated?
No, it
92.
it was donated by Margaret.
That's what I thought. That's
So-
not by Hans on Margaret.
Oh, but the 92 is correct?
The 1992 is correct, Tara. I would take out Hans and
Okay, got it.
it was just Margaret.
That was my understanding as well.
Everything else from my perspective, you're all good with it. Everything else
Okay.
is factually correct.
yeah, I
There
think
is a-
they're trying to cover 2 points that they want to say that it was built in 1964, Hans and Margaret Ray, and then it was donated in
92.
92 by Margaret Ray. So as long as we all know that it was built
Yeah.
for both of them.
Yeah.
I don't think that has any bearing on this chapter. I mean, this is a facilities chapter and we can't, you know.
Yeah, no, but I think that's what they were trying to convey.
No, I understand. I just,
Yeah.
you understand what I was saying
Uh,
as I read it.
There, the sentence as a 15-year lease of the Ray Center began in 2010.
Oh, no,
It's a lease from the town to the Ray Center. It's a lease of the Curious George Cottage.
The Ray Center is not a physical space, it's a.
it's an organization. It's a 501c.
Is it the
So you
center or
can't
foundation?
base an
It
organization.
is a center.
Okay, then it shouldn't it read the 15-year lease of the cottage?
But that's what we're talking about in this section.
I
Yes.
know.
The section header says cottage. I think we're okay. with
Yeah, we are, because it's at least 2 days.
We've already said it belongs to the town, right?
Nancy, you're better at this than I am. It says a 15-year lease to the town began, I guess began is the verb. Okay. I was looking for the verb in that sentence. I guess began is the verb.
Yep. All right. It looks good though, overall. Anything else?
Everything else is good.
Yep, okay, great. Curious George Cottage is good.
Let me just unhighlight that so we know we.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
yes, sorry. No, it's okay, Barry.
Is there gonna be a discussion about the weather?
There is,
As soon
there
as
is.
we get done, yeah, how close are we now?
We're pretty close, aren't we, Tara, with this chapter? And I did just hear from Sean and he's going to be on his way.
I didn't hear the question.
I have a question.
Oh, how
about
much-
the manual.
Hey, Mike, hey, hang on.
Right.
We're just wondering how much time is left for this chapter, roughly? Just we have, for the other agenda item today, some other people here waiting for it.
You have a bunch of recreation things. And then when we go back to after water supply and there's only a cemetery, stone tower and energy.
Okay, would you be okay, Tara, if when Sean Ward arrives, we put a pin in where we're at and do the winter lights discussion, then come back to this?
Oh, sure, of course.
Okay.
I don't have another meeting till 6 tonight.
Okay, all right, so when
I
Sean Ward,
just lost my place for a minute though, so.
uh-oh,
So we just
All right,
finished.
I got it.
I have a question on the cottage.
We were back, we were just, the next paragraph is about the preschool.
The manual observatory structure is non-functional. Correct?
Right now, as we're sitting here today, correct, but it doesn't mean it can't be fixed.
Okay.
I mean, I'd say that it's there, it's an asset if we want to put money into it.
A lot of them, yeah,
Well,
whatever. I mean,
You could put a parenthetical comment, currently
Oh, yeah, it doesn't say anything bad. does it?
I mean, when I read it, you know, a manual observatory structure, my brain says that it
currently inoperative. so-
that does something. I mean, it is a structure we could put, and whatever money would be
All right.
necessary.
Oh, wait, so I did what I heard Rich said, say currently inoperative in parentheses.
there you go.
That's fine, I just,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying?
Good. I think that paragraph is, the next paragraph is good factually, it's correct, if it says what you want it to.
Do we want to say the Ray Cultural Center? Earlier, we talked about the Ray Center. What's the?
Yeah, what's its
What's-
official name?
what's-
We should be consistent,
Yeah.
we should either say cultural center or center. I don't,
Which-
it is the cultural center. The Ray Cultural Center is the official name, I
Okay.
believe, of the. 501.
so we should change that, the earlier reference to Ray Cultural Center?
I think there were two references.
All right, I've made a note to do a search because it may be in other places in the plan, so we're good.
Great,
Yep, thank you.
okay. All right,
What's next,
anything
Sarah?
else?
Corcoran's Pond, and there's several paragraphs. I can only show one at a time here.
So
So,
The entire 7 acres, it does include the pond, the concrete and earthen dam. I guess it's okay. I just want to get the idea that the land is contiguous around the pond. It isn't the beach, the dam, the boat dock,
the street.
right? They're not discrete pieces. It's a contiguous parcel.
What if would it work if we turn these around and just switch the order of those first 2 sentences?
Yeah, I'd like that, Tara. That's a good idea. From my perspective, I think that gets it across.
okay,
And then it includes those pieces.
Yeah, and I think, after beach area, I think you meant to have a period and it's a comma.
Yeah.
And Terry, you've already noted that you're going to change Corcoran's all along to Corcoran.
Yeah, I did that search. I'm not sure why it didn't pick that up.
It's, oh,
Sometimes when you have a capital line.
yeah, it's changed in the body, just not the title. That's weird.
Yeah, I said I did the search through the whole doc, search on our place. I don't know why it didn't catch the title.
Mark, I have a question. Who's the easement from?
What is
the
Well,
non-specific
The
easement.
The owner of the land.
the
I'm just curious who it is.
outside of the parcel on the, what's now the Tyrell land, there is a 10-foot non-specific easement for
Kind of like over on Pond Loop.
all the way around the pond.
Okay, now the.
Wherever their land
Yeah.
is, there is a non-specific easement for a 10-foot walk.
Okay,
Okay,
Nancy?
so in that first paragraph, it's kind of a grammar question for Tara. So when we're referring to the pond here, we capitalize it, but I'm wondering, are we referring to pond like we're referring to the dam, the boat dock, whatever, as a just a thing, so.
Yeah, I mean, we changed, it's always been my habit to use capital when we're talking about a certain one because we're just shortening it and not saying Corcoran Pond anymore, but you did have me change it for a number of terms through the document, so it would be more consistent with what you had me change it to if we make these small.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking back to my learning languages and you would say the mother,
Yeah, no, technically,
like when you're calling her mother, it's capitalized. So that's how I learned language, so
yeah, it
that's.
varies when, I mean, you're talking about the name of the pond and technically you're just leaving off Corcoran, but it's more consistent with what you had me do if we'd make it small.
Yeah, well, but we're not using it as Corcoran's Pond here, we're saying the.
Sure, that's what she said.
I've changed it, Nancy, we're,
Well, okay, so then the next paragraph, third line down, first sentence or second sentence, where it says support equipment for the boating is, I would take out the, so it's support equipment for boating. Well,
We also need to move up the Akron and parenthetical comment on the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services.
well, except we're going, yeah.
like this is the first mention in this section, and she was saying that we should do it each
But you
section.
have it, right,
Oh, it's mentioned,
it's mentioned before we,
This parenthetical is the source of the data.
Yeah, that's the reference.
so that's a direct,
That's a site,
Okay.
that's a source of the data that it's 4.4 acres
okay, I understand.
and 253 feet long. That's not,
All right, I didn't realize it wasn't blocked or anything, so I didn't see it.
oh, I see what you're saying, but because in the one that starts, the paragraph that starts, the dam is 253 feet long and we use NHDES. Probably in the paragraph above, we should put a parentheses and do.
Yeah,
any-
I've made a note to search for DES and Department of Environmental Services and write it out the first time in each section and use
Oh.
the abbreviation after. So we don't need to talk about it each time we see it.
Right,
Excellent, okay.
Besides what I have on the screen, I have actual good old fashioned pen and paper in front of me for things like that. So
Fantastic,
don't forget them.
okay.
Yep, that's
And-
factually correct.
Okay, so anything else that people are talking about the pond?
High hazard dam is scary. But that's where it is.
That was they called it.
That's why I make sure to always put in the same sentence, it's not related to the condition of it.
No, I understand. It's
Right.
scary.
so in the second to last sentence of the section, and this is just a technical,
Should,
Wait, let
Go
Nancy
ahead,
finish.
a technical question about, silt. Would you say the silt drops out or settles out? And I don't know.
I think either term is understood.
Okay.
Where you are yet.
at the end of that.
It's okay, though,
It's fine.
it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just asking.
Where it says the dam now meets all specifications for high hazard class dam. Is that different from where we have above high hazard dam that's in quotes and with? Or is that the same thing or?
No, the improvements that we made brought us up to.
Yeah, no, I hear your question, Mike, and I think this is, again, we're saying it generically rather than the term.
Okay, that's fine, if that's what it is, that's fine. It just, okay, doesn't make sense to me, but that's fine.
We could change it and say high hazard dam and make it
I
capital.
think that makes more sense to me.
Or we can say high hazard class dam and not have it. Either one.
Whatever, I thought it made more sense since we mentioned it above. And then all of a sudden there's something different below, but.
We just, if we capitalize it,
That's just my,
It's
My
preference,
technical
whatever
word.
you guys want.
that's fine, I
I
don't
think
care.
it's correct either.
Okay,
Okay. So we go to the pond. Go, Doc. All right, what was next?
this next paragraph is still about the pond.
nymphs.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I thought we finished that. All right, so the pond is stocked for youth fishing events, that paragraph, anyone have any comments there?
Unfortunately, comma. Unfortunately, the fish are
Oh,
Everything.
I thought you were saying, unfortunately, we need a comma. I got it.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Now I got it.
That's about it, too.
I just understood what you were saying.
I was gonna point out that's an Oxford comma, that's my option, but you are on a different one. Right,
Do we, in the first sentence, is it the trout in the pond grow about 3 inches or to around 3 inches?
What is it now?
They grow about 3 inches.
So about,
Around.
Yes, about 3 inches. Yep.
What
Okay,
is it? I just looked it up and the first definition of a nymph is a mythical spirit. But I guess that there is something that is called a nymph.
it's a nymph stage, yeah,
Is that critical food?
yep. All right, anything else with this paragraph?
Sorry.
We're good? Okay, we move on. Ms. Packard's next.
All right, I got one. Second sentence, I might suggest shortening it to, The field is used for recreation department programs, comma, is available for private rentals, comma, and is otherwise free to public use, period.
Or available for public use or free for the public to use.
It's free for the public to use outside of those specific.
Oh,
So I think Nancy's wording is correct.
So
It's
I've got,
free.
we say is otherwise free for the public to use, is that?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else for Packers? And playgrounds? Okay. So we can move on. Ice arena,
First paragraph, fourth or fifth sentence, the lease was extended for an additional 10 years in 2021.
so the lease was extended for an additional 10 years in
Correct.
2021.
Got it.
For 10 years.
Or 10 years, whatever, however.
I'm assuming the hockey academy is the title of
Yes,
whoever they are.
they are.
Yeah.
That's the company.
Yeah, so the T should be capitalized, right?
yeah, you're right.
Correct.
I think
It
what the
looks
sentence
funny,
means,
but it's right, right?
It's right, that's right.
It is in-
I think after however, I think what you mean is however, going forward, improvements are undertaken, or however, today, improvements are undertaken through a cooperative.
Should it say, I mean, the first place I think it says, unless I missed it, part of a lease to purchase agreement, shouldn't that say the lease to purchase? That's the first place the purchase comes up, I think. That they have the option to purchase
It says lease to purchase.
at the end,
Mhm.
but shouldn't it say it above where it says the lease? Because that's where, no, I don't know. I
Yeah,
would-
so, yeah, I think in
Lease to purchase
2011,
is a technical term.
so where we say the lease was
Okay.
extended for an additional 10 years in 2021 and includes a purchase option, would that
Well,
be?
I would say,
I would say the lease, comma, with an option to purchase is the way I would do it, but
actually, I would go back to the sentence that begins in 2011 and say the town entered a lease to purchase agreement with the hockey academy,
or lease with the option to
Okay.
purchase.
or a lease agreement with an option to
I would say
purchase,
option,
however.
I think two options, the applicable.
And then you could just
Whatever.
call it,
I haven't read it, so
then you could just say in the next sentence, the same, a lease under the same terms, or
you know what I'm trying
Or
to
Was
say.
extended.
be extended for 10 years in
Right.
2021 under the same terms.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm just saying it shouldn't.
yeah,
just
that's
come
what
up at the end.
Mark just said, yeah,
Exactly.
so if you do what
brought
Mark
it up
said,
at the very
That's
end.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Does that make sense, Tara?
that was my concern with it.
are you good with all that, Tara?
I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
Tara's muted.
You're muted, Tara.
Okay. So I am, I had to take another call, so I'm still in the ice arena talking about the purchase agreement.
Do you want me to?
Do you want, yeah, Mark, go ahead.
So in the sentence that begins in 2011, Tara?
Yeah.
Say the town entered a lease agreement with option to purchase with the Hockey Academy.
Yeah.
And then just refer to it as the agreement or the lease for the rest of these paragraph. And then in
Wait, I just say the agreement.
the agreement or the lease, whichever one you guys wanted to use.
Well,
The
I think the lease agreement is good, but I'll get rid of to purchase in this last one.
That's correct.
Right.
And then in the sentence that says the lease was extended.
Yeah.
After in 2021, add to wording under the same terms.
And again, I apologize for the interruptions. There could be one more, but it was the only way I could participate in your meeting rather than be physically at the hospital this morning.
No worries.
It works.
Okay, so are we good with the ice arena now? Yeah. Everyone in Zoom land, good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two thumbs up, please, Steve.
So Osceola Library,
I know nothing about that.
One more question about the hockey arena. It says the town is responsible for capital maintenance of the building. And then it says, however, improvements are undertaken through a cooperative arrangement. Does that mean that the terms changed?
No, the town still is responsible for capital improvements. But we have set up a cooperative arrangement. And that's what we're currently working under. But if the Hockey Academy goes away tomorrow, the town is still responsible for the maintenance of the building.
You say goes away, you mean,
They walk away.
Whatever, they just walk away
I don't
from
wanna
the
get
lease
into
or
it.
whatever, it's just, if there is no Hockey Academy, or at the end of the next 10 years in 2031, they go away.
I understand, without reading these, I don't want to get into without that.
Yes. Does that answer your question, Bill?
No. That was the cooperative arrangement part of the lease of 2021?
Yeah.
It says that as part of the
Yes.
lease agreement.
That's correct.
To me, it's clear, Bill, but if it's not to you, then we need to think more on it because it might not be
No.
someone else.
The only
It
word
does.
that indicates that it might be different is the however.
Well, right, and then at the end of that sentence, it says, as part of the lease.
I think to me, it's saying that the town has a responsibility, but they've handed that off to the
Mhm.
Hockey Academy as part of the lease agreement.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
That's why however makes sense to me. Like you're as the town responsible, but you're not actually doing it.
okay, so if that's clearish, move on to the library.
Where it says, in addition to town, being the town library, the building has served as a meeting place and a one-room scroll. I think that it periodically still does serve as a meeting place. For example, for game players and things like that. Whereas the one room schoolhouse is what, ends in the 1974, 5, 6 era? something like
Okay,
that.
how about if I say the building serves as a meeting place and was formerly
Yeah,
Yeah,
a one-room schoolhouse?
I think that's better.
Yeah, all right.
okay,
All right, we did wastewater, right?
yeah.
We did.
We did that.
Did that.
Wow, that's impressive.
Go down, I think, to cemeteries. That's after water.
Yeah, Waterville Valley Cemetery on our printout on 105.
What's the plan for additional space?
Yeah,
There isn't.
yeah, I was gonna say.
That's
it's a
kind of,
cost-
it kind of left that hanging to me as a reader of, What do
Yeah,
you-
it would be to purchase adjoining land if possible, I guess, right, or adjacent land.
is there undeveloped adjacent land to purchase?
The house lot next door could be subdivided to provide additional.
So let's make a sentence to put here and in the action plan,
We could approach that with.
because it does just leave that question, and this is where you should say what the plan is.
That would have been a good idea 5 years ago.
What,
When land
Buy
was
land?
cheaper.
Oh, was
Yeah.
it sold?
like 2 years ago?
Are you exploring it yet, or you just thinking? of
No.
it?
It's the only way we could expand it, because everywhere else it's national forest.
Mhm.
Can't be buried in the national forest.
Well, no, we would need an act of Congress to get a piece of the national forest.
Officially. an act of Congress. Unofficially?
right.
I do understand.
All right, so
What are you
information
gonna do, dig
technology.
people up?
So are we good with cemetery then?
Yeah.
Okay, information technology?
Well, I thought we should add a sentence here about.
Oh.
Oh, craft it now?
Yeah,
All
Okay.
right, how do we want to?
I mean, do you want to? Mark, you want to think on it for a minute? And I mean,
What about,
Tara later.
Yeah, let me get you a sentence, Tara.
Yeah, is it weird that in our master plan, we'd be letting the property owner know
Yeah,
that we're gonna be
we
approaching
gotta
them?
figure
I
out
what
mean,
if, can it,
Yeah.
Say if available.
could we say for the additional land will be,
Any expansion of the cemetery would involve the acquisition of additional land.
I have to give them.
Well,
I got that.
But other than that, yeah, I mean,
This may have, Tara, I think this sentence, what we're trying to get at may need a little, a little thinking on before it, while it's crafted, so maybe Mark can get back
So,
to you.
okay, for now, as a placeholder,
Right,
say,
good.
I'm gonna write what Mark just said. Any expansion of the cemetery will require acquisition of additional land, and if I receive a change in time, I'll put it in.
okay, great.
Perfect.
But I think you should say that here and have an action item in the action plan,
I don't think.
Okay.
Okay,
if we don't already. I just can't remember.
Did
This
we-
this is exactly where you
I'm
wanna.
saying something tomorrow. Knowing that person, I'm not sure that's.
yeah,
This is the document where you wanna go to for, well, what are we doing about this?
right. All right, so information technology?
I think the only thing, Mark, that it might be wise to include is something to the regard that there's increasingly municipalities are experiencing cybersecurity incidents. And the town, starting in 2022, are taking measures to prevent and assess our infrastructure to avoid those threats. Ransomware.
Okay,
And all those things.
Again, maybe that's just a sentence, Steve, you can craft or Mark and just
get it to-
yeah,
get it to Tara.
Yeah,
do we have insurance for that?
well,
Really expensive.
limited.
Really expensive. Which doesn't mean it's not
Okay.
remote.
so with that sentence, go ahead.
Are you, somebody's gonna send me,
Yes.
Yeah.
I will start.
Yeah, I might change the second sentence and just take out the to a great extent. I don't think it adds anything, and just end with makes use of current software, period.
but if it's not entirely, is that true if we don't say to a great extent?
No, we,
That doesn't add anything.
All right,
we do upgrade, we are using current.
Either, you know,
Okay,
it's
can we, I think this sounds silly. Can we say
I agree with. you.
update software as needed?
Can
I want to go back. with-
Wait, I'm sorry, wait,
Mark, can I say update software as needed?
Where's that? I'm sorry, I lost you, Tara.
the
I'm still talking about the second sentence.
Okay, thank you.
Overall, town IT equipment is up to date and the town updates software as necessary.
That's better,
Okay,
because I really don't like it to
Yeah.
a great extent. That's
updates,
better.
update
Whoa, whoa,
software
whoa.
as,
It's necessary, I need it.
all right,
That works.
great.
Is up to date hyphenated?
I'm sorry?
This is a Nancy question. Is up to date hyphenated?
yes, it is.
Yeah, I thought so, yeah.
Biting my tongue.
How about online? Is online now, I think it has become one word.
It's one word.
It's one word, I thought it was one word.
What's one word?
Online.
Online,
Yeah, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I can go either way.
It's not my.
I'm not gonna get hung up on a.
I'm
on a
trying
hyphen.
not to say stuff. It's very hard.
Outside of the cybersecurity sentence, Mark, I think it'd be good for us to include something about how we desire to move into a cloud environment in the near future. So
That's a good one, I
We'll
think.
draw that up.
So I just want to, I'm still on the last comment. When online is a adjective, it's hyphenated.
Okay,
If I say I'm going online, I think that's one word, but if I say online software, I believe it is hyphenated. So
Okay.
I think these were given to me correct, or I corrected them.
okay,
Then I was still working on that and not listening to the next. comment.
We've got a couple of sentences that we're going to add.
Tara, after security in that highlighted field,
Uh-huh.
can you just do slash cloud computing?
Yeah, that's just a note to me that you're gonna send me something.
Yeah.
So I know not to bother reviewing the format and really, that's what that's about. Well, the page breaks.
okay, yep. So if we're set with information technology, this is where I'd like to put a pin in it, because Sean Ward is here, so we can discuss the winter lights. So any final comments on IT before we move on? All right, we'll put a pin there.
And if I just leave it on the screen, that's not interfering with anything, correct?
That should be fine. Okay. Hey, Sean, thanks for taking the time.
Maybe it's gonna interfere with the other people on
Oh,
there, so.
okay. So yeah, we just, Oh. yeah. Yeah. So we just, yeah, thanks for coming for our little review discussion. Just wanted to touch base, in terms of the overall public feel for winter lights for this, this past winter. And we had a little bit more to our public, earlier, but, just felt like it was important for there to be some feedback for the Winter Lights program. I know, Vicky, I know you've been waiting here for a while. Do you want to jump right in, or do you want to wait a little bit and what you have to say?
I'll wait until.
Okay, okay. So does anyone in the board want to start with discussions? I think there was probably some confusion as well, and perhaps I'll take a moment now just to remind everyone that the town square used the same organization to do the lighting in the town square as what Dreamscapes used for the Winter Lights program. So there's been some conflation that I've heard between the two. But the actual, lack of a seasonal tree in the town square, that's all a town square decision. That's not Winter Lights, just so we can go into discussion, knowing that Winter Lights is basically around the hockey arena wall that across the dam onto the beach, that area. Is that correct, John?
Correct.
Okay, so just so we have that clear before we start discussing. Yes, Vicky.
Who pays for the winter lights? Is it the town or the,
Would you explain that, Sean?
Yeah, Winter Lights is a sponsored program. So each year we seek sponsors, mostly from the business community in town. And it's for whatever we manage to raise in sponsorships, voluntary sponsorships from businesses or what pays for the lights.
so it's the merchants around town?
It's merchants throughout town. There's some merchants from outside of town sometimes, like I'm sure, and some other business entities that sponsor.
Does the town make a contribution as well, or?
We've been, I think, providing the land. I don't know if we've done it.
No, I don't think
Okay.
it's just the permission to use,
Use the
to
land?
use this, the hockey arena side as a building
And the beach.
and the beach
And the dam?
and the dam across the
Yeah.
walkway on top of the dam.
Yeah.
Right, but no money, as I recall.
No money.
No money.
I know I had heard some concerns about the brightness, in terms, not necessarily the dark sky, that would affect dark sky, but more in terms of the look of the LED lights versus the warm white lights. I did hear a number of concerns. These are the snowflakes on the side of the arena, that the LED looked much brighter, whether or not they measured that way with a photometer. So I did hear a lot of concerns about that. I'm not sure the lights that you had like wrapped around the tree by Snowy Owl and that had been wrapped around the trees at the arena. I understand you have difference in what you can afford with the program, but they look so nice. And I don't know, just from what I heard from other folks, they were missed.
Yeah, I mean, supply is impossible the last couple of years.
Yes,
We're lucky to get anything. We're lucky it was here before summer.
yeah,
But I do agree that the warmer white lights are nicer look. And I've spoken to the contractor about trying to acquire more of that type of light
okay.
for next year.
You will be coming back to the board next year for approval of the.
Well, this past year, since the minor site plan had not changed, we didn't actually do another minor site
So will
plan
not
for this
require
year. Unless if there's a change, we did not
Right,
require
okay,
it.
thank you for that.
So,
Are you
yeah,
planning to change?
Long ago, in a galaxy far away, when this thing was first presented, there was a more expansive proposal than just lighting. Is that still on the table for the future, or was that?
Post whatever we're going through in the world right now, yes. I don't see any of that changing in the next 8 months, 6 months.
But that would require, I think,
that would require, yes.
coming back. and
That's where I was
So
kind of.
for the audience, Vicky, I'm not sure what happened to Barry. What we're talking about is Sean does not have to come back. If it's the same, essentially the same as last year, does not have to come back.
I read that in
Okay,
previous.
just wanted to
Yeah.
put it on
Yeah.
the record.
Right, and that's why I wanted to make sure to give the opportunity for feedback.
Right.
In the original meeting that he had back in January 14, 2021, the people that were present, I wasn't here unfortunately, wanted to keep it simple, real simple. This was way over the top this past year. We're a little country town. We have a lot of, it was just too colorful for Waterville Valley. It's so, the simpler, the better. And I thought he was just supposed to contain everything at the town square. I didn't expect to see Cochran's Pond lit up. Number one, I just want to go back to say that but was more like the Snow Real, all white light. This is what the majority of the people that I have talked to in the past all like. It's just reminded me going back to the 70s. I'm from Massachusetts, and I can remember back in the late 70s, early 80s, taking my child to Edaville Railroad. And that was just pure honky tonk. And that's what everybody is saying, that what do you call it, back of the ice skating rink to the side, and see those blue snowflakes, and there was no consistency.
Yeah, so, yeah, the lack of cohesiveness between the
Yeah.
lights, that was what you found more jarring.
And usually it's so peaceful in the past, just the white lights in town square. Simple, the big tree in the middle of the square. And with white lights, and when you're coming around Conference Pond, especially Christmas Eve, and you're coming back from church, and you see just this beautiful tree with a few white lights, I forget where they were, you know, on the coast and stuff. And the hanging greenery, that's another thing. It was just so peaceful, and this town is special. And with the town at the end of the road, and just to see that beautiful sight, it's like a Carrier and Ives feeling.
Yeah.
This year, no feeling at all, I looked over.
Okay. I am making a note to reach out to the town square management regarding the town square comments for the tree and the greenery there. I don't know if you were thinking about including some greenery or able to do that type of thing in the winter lights segment of
There's
things.
always a desire to put some nice greenery in the barrels, but there was none available for the
Oh.
last 2 years.
Sure.
I can't even get rocks right now. Took me a week to get a truckload of peat stone for a drainage ditch. Just everything's unavailable, so. Yeah, last year, everything was, besides the light colors, everything was the same. We had lit up that path along the pond, across the bridge and onto the beach. Last year, we had those light balls on the beach. The only thing that changed this year, which I agree was not for the better, was that the light color. So last year we had those hanging string lights, but they were that warm white light all along the entire hockey rink. This year instead, they had the starbursts, and they ended up using not the warm white lights. So
But you are you're gonna change that for next year,
I hope so.
or for this year, I guess it is.
We have these products. I've asked them to change what products are used. I have no control over what Town Square does,
Right,
including the tree. It's not part of my program.
right.
But we can work on getting nicer lights or getting back the amber lights for.
Okay.
Can I go back? The initial program, long ago, that we're talking about potentially in the future, with all kinds of displays and things that people could walk through and things like that. Kind of go back to your comment of Eagle Railroad. The Eagle Railroad
Yeah.
was great and fun, and there were other things
Yeah,
as well.
little kids like that.
And part of the reason for doing that expansive light area was to draw people to the valley. So you have two sides going on here, two things going on here. One is doing something like that, and Edaville Railroad is obviously a whole different animal. But one, something that would draw, a light display that would draw people to the valley, which is the opposite of what you're saying.
I
you think the valley would
I
draw.
don't see them as mutually exclusive.
Okay. I'm
I
just-
think something like, that
You know what I'm
whole,
saying, though?
yeah, but like the whole grove, I'm thinking back to the first year where there's a whole grove of warm white wrapped lights on the trees around the arena. I mean, I saw so many people just wandering through there just because it attracted them. But they were all the same warm white lights versus the bright snowflakes. I didn't really see people interacting with those much except to see them from a distance. Like you weren't necessarily drawn to them, I think. So I don't see them as
Okay.
mutually exclusive.
Well, no,
myself.
but when we go back to the initial proposal,
But he's not able to do that
okay,
yet.
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm jumping ahead, which I probably should.
All right.
Vicky,
But
I'm
I
sorry.
feel as though the merchants are burdened enough without sponsoring the Winter Lights Festival. There's very few merchants, they, you know, they go beyond what is really, the support for the town and for the community. Just keep it to town square, that's what the majority of the people are saying that I had talked to.
Madam Chair, have you received any complaints about these lights producing glare or light trespass?
I have only heard anecdotally that they seemed much brighter, but I don't know. Did you measure them, Sean? I know
Yes, I-
previous years you'd measured them with a photometer.
We did measure in the areas that were of concern, intersections, streets, stuff like that the year before. The moon is brighter in those locations. There was negligible. Basically, the instrumentation could not detect light from any of those distances at all.
David, I see a code enforcement officer is on Zoom. David, did you receive any complaints with regard to glare or light trespass?
David, unmute yourself.
I mean, while we're waiting for David, but so this doesn't appear to be a question of violation of zoning when it comes to seasonal lights with regard to glare or light trespass, but a question of appropriateness or taste.
Yes.
And the complication of having two light displays adjacent to each other,
Yes.
which is, I think, the heart of the problem.
That is definitely part of it. Oh, when we first did the site plan review, I reviewed the minutes from those meetings, that meeting, and most of the comments were as pertaining to the themes. So it's been from the beginning that there's been concern about the overall look, the aesthetic. Of course, it is difficult to please everybody and different tastes, but it just seems like going more, the tone of that meeting was to keep it more conservative than that. Anyway, had been the main public feedback.
The one call I remember taking over the winter was not in regards to the town square lighting, but the library had colored lights, multicolor lights, and there was a preference that it would be all white this year.
Okay. Thankfully, also out of Sean's purview there.
Yeah.
David, are you with us now?
Yep, I'm here.
Excellent. Had you heard Rich's question before?
I didn't. I'm sorry, I had somebody in my office.
Oh, no worries.
Oh, should I ask it again?
Yeah.
So David, I was asking as code enforcement officer, did you receive any complaints with regard to glare or light trespass about the winter lights display?
I did not. There was nothing, no official complaints or anything about the lights. Anecdotally, I had a couple complaints about them not being picked up and the way it looked afterwards in the spring. But other than that, there was nothing about the lights.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think the town, I think the select board did address that, and I think Sean was told that we were not happy that the display stayed up as long as they did. So that I think has been resolved.
And everything was frozen to the ground.
Right, I understand, but,
Out there since we could after that.
right, okay. Go ahead.
Vicky?
When they be shut off, period. They were well lit until the end of March almost Easter.
Believe,
What did we agree to?
I thought it was
That's what we
March
agreed
4th. Let me double check. I did take a picture of the original.
That's a good question. We did have a date.
14th was
March-
supposed
Was
to
it the
be.
14th? I said we don't
14th.
remember.
Yeah,
Easy to unplug them, and turn them off.
yeah, with our original conditions, the approval for this season wasn't, for that season was until March 15. So, yes, I guess that would still be standing, that, unless if we revisit the conditions,
And
they
it was
should be
well
off
after
March 15.
Thanksgiving that the stuff started to appear.
Right,
And as usually we have everything ready. Town square was all decorated, by Thanksgiving.
yeah, again, the town square is a different animal,
Yeah.
and that, I believe, is gonna be addressed separately, because yes, that is important to have it up to in time. I assume any lag in the winter lights, the dreamscapes was again the supply, is that,
The first year, we didn't set up winter lights until January.
right,
It was kind of a
That was
last
a
minute
new-
idea.
yeah,
The second year was, everybody wanted to see this for December, right after Thanksgiving. It was a staffing and supply issue. We did manage to get them up before Christmas. I think we turned on the lights around the second week of December or so. And we started setting them up the day after Thanksgiving. Just the availability of labor and supplies. I mean, back in the day, Thanksgiving weekend, bam, everybody got their Christmas lights out. That was it for the season, but we haven't been able to do that.
I also would like to add that I have spoken to Wendy about this, that my neighbor and Tom and I have a tree that's in the middle of the property line. And it's interfering with trees that are growing on our property. And then this thing all of a sudden appeared by Mother Nature and grew up between it. And it's about 18 foot. And we'd like to have that taken down. And Bob Koss, my neighbor, suggested that we might be able to donate it to the town square.
yes, and I had reached out to Stacy Mativier, the manager here, and I believe she's not gotten in touch with her. I'll make a note with that as well to follow up with her on that again and see if we can't get some communications there. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Go back to the live tree in the middle of town square.
Right. Okay.
Mark, do you recall if the select board approval, I'm sorry, I just don't remember, for use of town property was, on a year basis? In other words, does Sean have to come back to the select board to request the use of the property? I don't recall either. And the reason I bring that up is that, as your representatives, I mean, I think I heard a comment you made, Vicky, that you would like to see it limited, like you mentioned the beach in particular, which is
The
town
beach.
property.
In the docks.
Yeah, it depends where,
The docks could be wrapped in white lights, the posts and stuff.
right,
And along the bridge. That could be, just keep white lights, no colored lights.
okay, so I think when I'm not sure if I'm correct, but if Sean does have to come in front of the select board to get approval to use town property for the next year, then that would be the opportunity for you and others to come in front of the board, and as your representatives, we would obviously listen to what you have to say about the use of town property for the project.
There is a remark that Tara made, that she didn't feel as though he needed to come back year to year.
Well, for planning
That's-
board.
I'm talking about the
but
select board.
Yes.
Because he needed approval, Sean needed approval from the select board to use town property. And the planning board required that prior to its approval
Right.
of the minor site plan review, that he acquire
Move that quickly.
proper approval from the use of town property from the select board. I don't know if we gave, I'm sorry, I just don't recall if we let it run the term of the minor site plan review, or whether it's, I have to go back and look at the minutes. But in any event, you certainly can come in front of the board as residents and say, we want the board not to, not to approve for use of town property, or if town property is used, we want these conditions put upon it. I think that may be the proper place.
Sure.
Since the planning board, since the minor site plan review has been granted and there's no substantial change going forward.
Right.
I'm not sure what authority the planning board would have to make any changes, maybe Tara can help me.
I don't believe we necessarily,
I mean,
well,
how long does a minor site plan review run, I guess, is.
right. Tara, have you?
It's permanent, like any other site plan.
Okay.
approval. It's not an interim thing, it's a simple thing.
Right, unless if
Thank
there's a structural change, right, a significant change to
Or a
the,
significant expansion.
right,
Right,
right. Okay. Okay, great.
again, I don't know if this is,
Oh, yeah,
is
no,
is correct, but we have to check on that.
Yeah.
But we could check and let you know.
no, that's fine.
I do want to say that we're doing this for the community, for it to be nice. We didn't put up different lights this year to make everyone upset. We did the best we could to find some materials. Was it possible to find help? We got what we got and we put it up, and I didn't like it as much as I did the year before either. So I'm not here to change this so that people don't like it.
Right, sure.
We had different colored lights and some people didn't like them as much as the year before. We'll do the best we can to go back to what we did the year before. I also want to comment that, as far as a merchant, as a multiple merchant, representing the Snowy Owl, Legends Adventure, the arcade, Legends Escape Room, the purpose of this project is to try to draw customers to our businesses so that we can survive and ultimately thrive as businesses. Businesses need customers in order to continue in their operations. And the purpose of this and the reason why merchants voluntarily sponsored this program and continue to sponsor it year after year is because they believe, I believe, that doing things like this will draw customers into Waterville Valley, which helps the businesses. And with that business activity, we're able to have funds to be able to maintain our properties. That's why Snowy Owl is being painted and repaired right now, why we're able to clean up the property. We need customers to be able to do that. Ultimately, Town Square will need customers to be able to manage their repairs. And restaurants need customers in order to keep their doors open so that we have options in town to be able to eat at restaurants.
Sure.
So I just wanted to state that was the purpose of this program
Sure.
to begin with.
Okay, thank you.
But
Vicky?
I'm sorry, but my train of thought had, just gone crazy because everything was delayed because he was supposed to be first on. But I think the main look that the people of the town want, okay? I've been there a number of ski areas, and my favorite one is Deer Valley. And the moment you arrive, it's just beautiful white lights all over the place. The simpler, the better. The same is for Vail, the same is for Whistler. And even if we go 20 miles down the road a piece to the town of Plymouth, when you go into the circle there, beautiful white lights on the trees.
Okay, great, thank you. I think
Deer
that's
Valley
a,
and Vale.
Yeah.
I can look at those. I can definitely look at those for inspiration.
great,
I brought it up on my phone right now. It's really nice.
okay. Well,
John
wonderful,
Ross was supposed to be here, but he was gonna.
yeah. Yeah, okay, well, I think it's good to have that have the opportunity for a discussion at the very least, whether it's, you know, part of an official thing or not. Communication is really important, so I appreciate you both taking the time this morning to help with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
Right.
All right. Think so.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank
Enjoy- Enjoy the day. Stay dry.
I don't know how you're gonna do that. I'm going on the list today.
Good call. All right. We technically are, we can continue working, right? Even though we have one shy of a quorum here,
No, you've got. But you want
physically present.
No, physically present Nancy's.
Nancy had to step out.
So the whole meeting, they have to be physically present?
You
You don't have.
That's why I'm asking.
temporarily drunk.
That's why I'm asking Tara, can we continue working or do we have to wait for Nancy to return?
I think that's up to you.
Okay, I'd like to continue working if everyone is fine with
I have
that.
no problem, but-
Nancy knew the flow of the meeting, so
Oh.
she would know what's happening. Okay, so for next, we had gone through information technology.
Where it's other town land is what I highlighted.
Okay.
Other town, yes.
Mark, did everything look okay in that to you?
Yeah.
Okay,
How about in the middle of the paragraph, it says these lands are not formally conserved. Do we want are or were not?
Where are you?
Well, I meant are not. If you want to change it, then I would say have not been. Or have not yet been, or something, but some of them are just informal. Right,
If it's okay with you, I'd say have.
Have not captured fast.
okay. So these lands have not been,
Formally
okay,
conserved.
just, and I think that's an important statement because a lot of people mistake town land for conserved, and if it doesn't have an actual easement or something, then, or a town meeting statement that it's for conservation, then the town can do whatever it wants with it.
See this? Sorry. Should we write out cross rather than put an X for cross country?
Where are you?
the line above that.
Yeah, the line above that where it's an X instead of,
Got it.
I always read it that way, but I don't know.
I
Okay.
think we did a search, Nancy, you and I earlier, and it probably, maybe it didn't pick this one up because of the slash.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
I might put commas around, for example.
Sorry.
So it would say, these include, comma, for example, comma, a recently purchased parcel on. Otherwise, it just sort of reads run on.
Okay. Anything else in that? Oops, there's one more sentence over here. So anything else then for other town-owned land?
Yeah, on the very last sentence, after in addition, comma, I would write some lands such as the newly acquired wetland parcel.
That was given. Okay,
It reads weird.
okay. I always feel.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
I think
Okay,
you had to say some of these, I don't, I'm not, it's,
what's that?
is that when you add lands to some lands, is it necessary referring back to these lands?
Maybe.
Could be read as some other lands.
Separate kind of
Yeah,
qualify.
I think it's distracting somehow to add lands here. Cause it is other, like Rich is saying.
So you would say some of the other lands or some of these lands?
I don't know, cause it's really just one parcel, so.
I think no matter what you put in there, it actually makes it more vague, not less. But that's just me.
Whatever you think.
What if we said,
Not married to.
well, give me 1 second. A management plan would help ensure long-term stewardship. What if we just made it simpler and said the newly acquired wetland parcel may benefit from more formal conservation? Because it's really just that one.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
That's even better.
I
yeah,
like that better.
good. Okay, so capital improvements program.
I just changed it to plan while you were talking.
Yeah, thank you.
You have to be Ottawa Valley is unique.
We are, in many ways.
And I'm making a note to do a search to make sure I'm consistent throughout, because
Great.
that too. Got
You
that.
may also want to do that for improvements.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which do you want it to be?
Yes.
It's plural, right?
Oh,
Right.
yeah, and it is
Yes.
singular down at the bottom. That's right.
Yeah.
Should always be with the S.
Or just CIP, wouldn't you?
Why can't we just say CIP?
Well, we
Yeah.
will.
You do in the paragraph.
Okay.
I think even if you've used the acronym for something earlier, it's tedious for people who aren't involved in it to read it when you use the initials a lot. If you know, I really want the written out thing to be handy to people and fresh in their minds.
Sure.
Otherwise, it just, they get frustrated and put the thing down. People don't want to have to turn back pages to see what initials mean.
Okay.
Yeah. So the second to last sentence, I mean, I think of select board as being singular rather than plural, so I would say the select board approves with an S.
Sorry, I missed where you are.
Second to last sentence where it says the select board approve funding sources, I would say approves with an S. And then,
That's a typo thing.
yeah, and then later on, I would say and develops with an S also, develops warrant articles.
Yep.
Okay, anything else for this paragraph? Anyone online and Zoom?
Fine.
Oh, Mark?
One, I don't know exactly the wording to use, but in the first sentence, somehow reflecting that it's all town departments. And I would, if Mike would agree, and you can talk to the rest of the school board, I think we should put the school as well in there, the school district capital needs. I don't know how to word it, but I'd like it to just say that it's all.
But that's the school's CIP, everything in the school is separate and distinct from that. I think you're right, I think we have to say. I think you're saying.
I think that somehow we need to consider how to integrate it because we are a single town district. Right, we're not talking about the cooperative Pemmy Baker School District. We're talking about the Waterville Valley School District, and that is just us, and so
Mark.
same taxpayers.
It's usually, Mark, it's usually not included in the CIP because it's a different town meeting. It's a different, because this is the planning board recommendations to the select board for the town budget.
Yeah, and that's why I said I don't know how to word it. I just think that especially if there were major facility needs, like building additions or things like that, that somehow we need to take that into consideration.
Well,
My
what if,
suggestion, which I kind of penciled in, is that there be a second paragraph, which would say, something like, the school has its own
Yeah.
CIP and budgetary
Just take it into-
system
Yeah.
and stop there.
Exactly. I just
I just thought
finding
something to
that,
be
I
said.
just-
In
Yeah, and
my
I understand.
other hat,
I understand what you're saying, Tara, that it's a separate legal entity, but I just want to just have a nod to the fact that that
It
it
exists.
affects the taxpayers.
Yeah, I
Like,
got that. I've got a note and then
all right,
and I'll do that later.
okay. good.
While we're here, we might be able to wordsmith this first sentence to make sure it reflects what you want in terms of all the departments. Right? Were you looking for that clarification, Mark?
Yeah, I just think that we need to remind people that it is all of, somehow all of our facilities or all of our departmental.
So can we just say across all departments?
Yes, across all departments would be fine.
or can we say the planning board input from?
No, the plan itself is across all departments and
Okay.
all of our,
Okay.
I think that's sufficient, Tara, to get that.
Now that we've made it be called a plan, this second plan in the first sentence looks
It's redundant.
yeah.
yeah,
Maybe it's an up-to-date capital improvements plan for
At least 5
at
years.
least 5 years
yeah.
of needed.
Yes, because we have looked at longer periods of time. Bill has had us, rightly look out 10 years or more.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
past.
so what if it, now it says the planning board is tasked with developing and maintaining an up-to-date capital improvements plan for at least 5 years of needed facility improvements and equipment replacements across all town departments.
Correct,
Good.
yes, thank you.
And I'll make sure that I catch the school edition later.
Okay, before we leave that paragraph, I think one time is hyphenated.
That's up to Nancy.
I know, I was waiting for Nancy. Well,
Oh, one time.
I have
All right,
to
we got it.
supplant Nancy's activity.
Okay. Okay, anything else for that paragraph?
No.
Move on to Stone Tower.
I would, in the first sentence, I would change its own to owns a medieval tower. Well, not really.
I had a problem with the term
Oh.
medieval.
So
Well,
it
it's-
says, well, not really.
Yeah, it's corrected
It's a
right
joke.
away.
So
Yeah. A little levity in the master.
That's
plan.
fine, I just.
I had another edit at the last sentence. I will get a date for Tara of when it was donated. I know that, I just don't know off the top of my head. till we have it Written down
Tina
when it
has
was
all.
donated.
Yeah, that'd be good to have.
And I would say, I would add another last sentence that says the town, something along the lines of, the tower is located on a small town-maintained parcel of land adjacent to either Stone Tower Lane or adjacent to the Academy dormitory building or the BBTS dormitory building, however you want to word that.
I lost you at, I lost you at, the tower is located on a small town maintained parcel of land.
Adjacent to, and then either Stone Tower Lane or adjacent to the Ski Academy dormitory building, however you wanna.
I feel like the
You probably want
dormitory.
to say Stone Tower Lane because that's the public way to get there.
Oh, sure, okay,
Yeah, say Stone Tower Lane.
Stone Tower Lane.
okay.
Do you want to mention that the town has an easement for access, for maintenance and access?
I
You
think
said,
ju-
you
just
said,
say
you said the land was maintained. I thought it was owned by. Am I wrong?
Well,
a town owned,
Both.
I said.
Yeah, but no, you then said something about
Oh,
maintained.
on a small town owned and maintained parcel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's, yeah, we should say town owned.
Yes,
Yeah,
it-
I think-
because
I
there
think-
is actually a parcel
Yeah,
that's.
Yeah.
that's a small, but it's not that small, really.
All right.
Anything about the materials used? Is it just stone or is it
It is
granite?
just,
Or is it
just stone?
it is stone and concrete.
Yeah,
You know, and that's why I say town maintained, because we appointed it and.
it's actually pretty impressive.
I would put a comma after last but not least.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Oh, how we're moving on.
You're-
If you add one comma, you need two, because then it's comma, but not least comma.
I wish we could get paid for commas.
Which system you want to use?
Yeah, it
Well-
will.
We'll triple your pay for each comma.
You double it when you put them in and then take them back out.
Yeah, true.
All right.
We on to energy?
Yep, energy.
I would make lagoons plural
Um,
in the
Where are you?
fourth line down, second
I
sentence.
see.
Current wastewater lagoons, because we don't know where the,
I'm sorry, oh, in the second paragraph,
yeah, in the second paragraph, sorry.
got it.
I
what do you got, Mike?
don't know how you. I suppose we have a dam, so you can do hydroelectric. Never, well, I'm sorry, I apologize. And I don't know how you do wind since we're down below, but I can't imagine that the Forest Service allowing us to put windmills up there. But never mind.
This, Wendy, this came from your energy committee, correct?
Yes,
No, no,
it
no,
did,
I
it did.
understand, my problem, even though it came from the committee, is practicality.
Oh, no, I wasn't saying so it should be gospel. This is, it's a committee's recommendations for your consideration. I think usually that might be called micro hydropower, but
Well, I know, I'm well familiar with micro hydropower. I had clients that did it, and it is not practical in our environment, and wind is not practical really in our environment.
As long as it doesn't end up in the action plan, I think we're okay. But just mentioning it here is.
So what-
I hate to mention things that can't be.
what this sentence though is still accurate. If it says the committee encouraged the town to do this, well, then that's factual.
Yeah, and,
Right.
Yeah,
you know,
That
no
does-
stone left
sorry.
unturned, and I think that's not a bad
Okay.
thing to say.
and maybe technology will advance the next 5 years, so these things are realistic. We
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, we're at the top of the mountain for wind. I don't think it's the craziest thing they do. But
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, but that's not National Forest Service, but I understand.
It is Waterville Valley
Where
land.
it where it says, look, lagoons when it is no longer in use.
Oh, when they are no longer in use.
When they,
oh, yeah, they,
when they are no longer in use.
Yep.
Come on, Nancy, I see another one.
Yes, you do. So I have a comment on the last paragraph, last sentence.
No, wait a minute. The committee recommended continuing to focus on energy conservation.
Where,
Where are you?
Top line of the paragraph.
You're still in the second paragraph.
Yeah, I think this is correct. You can change it, but it's correct. They were continuing a focus on energy. We recommended continuing a focus. That's not incorrect. You could,
Yeah,
change-
because they might have more than one focus.
what do you want to change it to?
I want to change "a" to "to." Because I think that it's the continuation of the verb.
Well, except maybe they were focusing on both energy conservation and other things too, because they talk
Yeah.
about like electric vehicle charging stations, which is not energy conservation, so
Right, I don't think this
hoping
is,
that's one of their focuses.
I don't
So
think this is,
disagree.
it's not correct now. For the reason Nancy just said. They
Yeah.
wanted to focus on alternative energy and energy conservation, so it might say to include a focus.
why don't you just leave it the way it was?
Yeah, it's fine.
That's fine. This is not a fall on your sword exercise.
Yeah, right, it's better to talk about the actual content of the plan like Mike did and saying,
Yes.
you know, well, let's make sure we don't put wind and hydropower in the action plan, because we don't necessarily agree with the committee, but
No, I don't want,
that's the planning part that we want to have here.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, I'm still looking at when they are no longer in use. It says no longer is use.
Oh,
Okay,
yes, you're right.
in use. All right. Nancy, what were you saying about the
So
last?
Well, first, are we done with that paragraph? I don't wanna. Okay,
I think so.
and I don't have anything for the paragraph after that. I have something for the last paragraph.
We beat it to death.
Last sentence of the last paragraph. I would change it to, well, I'm not quite sure how to say this, but to read, as the number of electric and hybrid vehicles continues to increase at a rapid pace, I would add, comma, the availability of EV charging stations is increasingly, so I would get rid of will become and put is.
I'm not with you yet, hold on. I got
Okay.
rapid pace.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I would say, okay, after that, the availability of the EV charging stations is, not will become, and then I would say increasingly critical, not just important, for destinations, and then I keep the rest.
Am I misunderstanding something, but don't hybrid vehicles have gas and electric and don't need to charge?
Yeah, they're either EVs or they're hybrid.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, there is a hybrid referred to as a plug-in.
yeah, a lot of electric vehicles don't have, you can have the option of not having gas.
Right.
And even if you have gas, you'd much rather plug in and use your electric.
Plus, there is the issue that you don't have a gas station.
Yeah,
Yeah,
minor.
not anymore.
I have.
also, good point.
Mark, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I saw some people plugging in EV outside of Black Bear last weekend.
Were they just running power cords from their windows?
I didn't think so. I thought that there was I'll go check.
Where is the one station in town that this mentions?
Windsor Hill.
Windsor Hill,
Condominiums.
It's only for the use of people who own in Windsor Hill.
right,
Or our guests.
Or guests.
or get,
Yeah, so I mean, it might be that they're plugging in elsewhere. That's different than having an actual charging station and takes a lot longer.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
the difference is night and day.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the ski area really needs a whole line of them.
Yep.
I have
All
one.
right.
We
Well,
on
there's
the-
money for those now too. There's grant
No,
money.
no,
Okay.
you know,
Rich?
I was gonna, are we on the paragraph that
We are.
the committee also noted?
Yep.
The very last sentence, we say are dependent on vehicular traffic. Would anyone be interested in a qualifier like completely?
That's fine.
Utterly.
We are
Utterly,
completely
completely.
I came up with, a
Depressingly.
number when I was reading it earlier, but,
You
and
know,
I,
I think, well, Rich, what would you think of just losing that whole phrase and say destinations such as Laurel Valley or something? I mean, what destinations in our country aren't dependent on vehicular traffic? I think there might be a better way to say.
that's
that.
right, because you don't get here by, air or
I
boat.
mean, I'm just saying, if you had one, I'm just making the point, if you had one bus, you wouldn't be completely dependent anymore, but it would still be true.
Right.
So wondering if there's a better way to word it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you still need it everywhere.
What if can we say vacation destinations instead of destinations? But I think the point of this is it's really important for tourism now.
Mhm.
Right.
Could we say vacation destinations such as
Sure.
Laurel Valley? Is that
Like resort destinations.
Yeah, resort.
And then a full, period right after valley.
Yes,
Okay.
because even if you had one bus, it would still be true. So I don't want to add completely dependent.
Further up, is it really condominium owners association or just the owners?
Where are you?
To the
Oh.
owners and guests. In the first sentence, the second sentence. of
Right,
the
right.
Yes.
Owners and guests.
Is limited to condominium owners and, to the condominium association owners and guests.
We probably don't need association,
Yeah,
right? Condominium owners and guests.
Why don't we just say where it is? Why do we shroud it in mystery? Why don't we give props to the place where it is? Jeez,
We could.
yeah, why don't we?
So what is the name?
Windsor
Windsor.
Hills,
Spell Windsor.
WINDSOR. Windsor Hill.
the other note, I'm sorry,
So I have got limited to Windsor Hill condominium owners and guests.
Yeah.
Okay.
the other note I had, is related to the first sentence in that paragraph. The committee also noted the lack of electrical vehicle charging station in town for visitors. They also, I recall when they discussed this at the select board, that there was a need for some kind of public-private effort to change this. Do we want to mention this in the context of a master plan as an action item?
Yeah, let's put it in that, let's make a note to look at it for the action plan. Make sure it's in there. You know, the new grant funds that are available are not limited to public anymore. That was an issue in the past, that the grant funds that were available, it had to be public property, but that's not true of the new funding.
We have a unique problem too here, and this may also be additional, like, to the paragraph, in that, we don't have municipal parking lots, or we don't have a convenient area for the town to run an EV station.
But again, the funding isn't limited to town property anymore.
I guess what I'm trying to say, in the end, it's gonna be very limited as to what the town can do with regard to EV charging stations.
I think a statement along the lines of it's going to be incumbent on pub or private
Yes.
development of EV charging stations because there isn't
Public.
good public access, or there is limited public access areas.
Right, or town-owned land. We're looking at
Town-owned land.
the master plan for the town, so.
Yeah.
I don't, we want to deceive someone that, you know, we have a way to, the town can, you know, we have a municipal parking lot where we can put three or four. We don't have one, so I think we need to capture that idea. that
Well,
What we
except
can do is very
you have a
limited.
municipal building, a municipal area.
Yeah, but you need to be able to,
I don't know, I agree. And, you know, I was just reading, in order to actually charge your car for 200 miles
Right,
in a level 2
I think,
thing, you need 8 hours.
well, it depends.
Well, yeah.
That's a level 2, the current level, the
But-
current
but
level.
not-
that's
to get a
sort of
fast charger.
besides,
To get a fast
besides the
charger, you need
point.
30 minutes.
Yeah, no, I think Tara, if I could,
Yeah.
Madam Chair, maybe we can come up with
The
a,
sentence,
the-
yes.
yeah, town.
yeah, I've put in a note that we'll add that later. I think when we get to the action plan, I don't think we want to drop the idea of a public-private partnership.
No, not at all.
Really,
That's-
because I could see if you want to end up with a coordinated system, you might have the town involved in the planning and the grant writing.
Right.
Yes. In fact, that's, I think, the direction we've talked about going.
Yeah, so we'll catch that in the action plan and we'll add a statement later here.
Good. Okay. Anything else for energy?
I think that's the end of that.
All right. So did you want to go on to the action plan now, Tara, or you said there was rec stuff to do?
No, I think that draft is ready for you.
Sorry, so did you want to, I'm sorry? Did you want to look at the action plan for infrastructure?
I'm happy to keep going, yeah.
Is everyone up for it?
We're here.
Yes.
All
I'll
right,
just need to find our place here in it. It's a little bit less. Did we talk about, I'm sorry, I can't remember. I was trying to remember whether we looked at the wastewater part of the action plan at the last meeting when we had that department here.
it wasn't here. and
We didn't, because I
No,
had dated the file. I had dated the file as if we did something to it that day. All right, so this would be the beginning here with, I gotta move you guys so I can see a little bit more.
Yes.
Apologize, I'll be right back.
And Nancy had talked about subheadings, so I've unhidden my column where I have the notes for those, that when this goes into the actual master plan document, that was my thought on the subheadings is in this column to the left.
Okay.
Just a note that one thing you're gonna need to do your wordsmith thing on when we meet on what's hopefully close to the final draft is that we haven't talked about language to introduce these items in when we get to that chapter, right? I'll be just writing a paragraph to say what we're looking at here and what it means, and so that we'll need to make sure we take a closer look at that when we come to the next draft, because that will be new. It'll be the only thing that's new.
Right. Okay.
Do you guys have paper copies of this?
I believe everyone does.
I'm using an online copy you sent.
Okay.
All right, so I'm not gonna worry about showing that subheading column on the screen, so I can make it a little bigger for those of us on Zoom. All right, so the first item here is sorry, I'm just having trouble getting everything I want in the right place. continue to update the CIP annually, and we have the planning board as the lead with town manager and department heads playing a role.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then adequately fund needing maintenance and program capital improvements program annually. That's, I thought the select board and town meeting.
Uh-huh.
Mark, do you draft the budget?
Yes.
So should you be in there in not bold?
Yes, that's fine. We don't generally do the next one. I mean, we have some reserve funds. I'm not sure. Not been something we've done the way other towns do it. I'm fine leaving it in if that's what the planning board wants to do.
You don't, I didn't catch, you don't use capital reserve funds?
Very limited. They're mostly used for maintenance so that if we have a year where we have a lot of vehicle maintenance, we'll put money into a reserve fund. And then if we don't use it, it'll be saved until the vehicle's replaced or something. But that's, I mean, we only have 3 capital reserve.
So I would encourage you to, I mean, is there, why not? Why aren't you using capital
Well,
reserve
in
funds
the
to
past-
pay things?
In the past 15 years, an interest rate of 0.03% in the bank didn't make any sense to raise money year to year when you could borrow it for 1%.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be maybe more important going forward if the interest rates rise. But borrowing money even now is still pretty inexpensive.
Okay, so what, can I change it to continue to consider use of capital
Yes.
reserve funds where appropriate?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, that's fine. That's good.
That sounds like a better fit for what you're doing.
Yeah,
Do we need to, I probably not, because this is town, not school, right?
but we
Because
don't,
the school has a different philosophy, has,
that's not.
no, I'm just asking the question. And you know what the interest rate for the school bond, I'm sure it's done.
We have to see.
Yeah, went up, got jumped.
Okay, so then accessibility.
Yeah, who's lead?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's the Resort Association. In fact, I'm quite sure it's not.
Is it not, even if we want to include the hotels and restaurants and all, and a comprehensive, who would team up with the town to do that on the behalf of the private businesses?
I don't even know. Do we have someone?
We really leave it, each individual business is responsible for their accessibility needs.
Is it
Yeah.
So
anything?
it's code enforcement makes sure that they do it, but the assessment and, their plan for it is a private decision.
I understand that, Mark, but what I'm recommending for your consideration is that you do a comprehensive townwide one to make sure things all hang together. And so who would lead that? I mean, that's really what's recommended for a community, is that everybody get together and evaluate the community's accessibility. So that the hotel, whatever they do, doesn't stop and then there's a 2-inch lip to the public trail, sidewalk, that it all needs to hang.
That would be a private enterprise.
No, well, in this, under that thought process, then I would hold town manager and have department heads and private businesses not bold.
Okay, because this, I just want to be clear that what you're saying is what's done, but what I wrote is what I recommend. That's, you know,
No,
good practice for a community like yours. I can point, you know, because I actually have a family member with a wheelchair, I can point to numerous things in, you know, Hanover, for example, where everybody's done their part, but it doesn't hang together.
Right. It's
But
really
I think
important
if
to-
we're gonna,
yeah.
if we're trying to come up with a comprehensive plan, then it's better for us to have it done under the town manager and then have him coordinate with the individual businesses.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
so-
and
and
not-
Him or-
in doing that too, I changed thorough to comprehensive, so it's clearer what we're trying to say.
So not code enforcement officer, just town
No,
manager?
that-
Okay,
because under the manager and the department heads, you cover really everything.
okay.
Yeah.
No, I think it could be your town core group having a role. in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, town
Yeah.
core working group, not bolded would be okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That helps. Yeah.
It's gonna become more and more important as more of us are gray and over 60.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Talking about me again.
No, yeah, no, myself.
Or anyone who breaks a leg or sprains an ankle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, there's the athletes.
Yeah. So the next one,
I struggled with this as I read it last time, because we still obviously have a large portion of the population that is older.
yeah,
However, there's also been, in the last 2 years, a significant uptick in the families coming into the valley.
right.
So what's the goal of this? Is this, do we still see ourselves as that really 90% aged population retirement? Because I think we've turned a little bit away from.
Yeah, but even if not, we still, even if not, we still have a senior population that's aging. And I think the point of this is more to be able to do well checks,
Okay,
right?
got it.
Yeah, I mean, even if your family population has grown as a proportion, your senior population has grown as an absolute number.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
And in areas like small towns where you don't have services, that the more successful approaches are for the town to do things on a little bit more informal basis.
I would put town manager in bold.
Okay.
A town manager and Department of Public Safety in bold.
Okay,
Because the Public Safety Department does the well checks, wellness checks. And they have a very good system of staying in contact.
okay.
And it certainly is not senior citizens.
No, that's right.
Majority of their.
I don't really know why we had code enforcement in there at all.
Yeah, I think it should be public safety. Yeah.
Is select board not bolded, right?
That's correct.
Okay, it didn't show up, that's right.
Can you see, do I have it right now?
Yes, yep, that's good.
Wait, I did.
So transportation,
Transportation. Yeah, here it is.
Okay, so the next one,
We actually have a hazard mitigation plan that's accepted. I would put that under Department of Public Safety and then have town manager and select board not bolded
Okay,
for the alternatives.
okay.
Department of Public Safety is bolded and nobody else.
Correct.
Okay,
This next one, I always put in plans because it's something a lot of towns miss. The
Yes.
letters come out and it used to be the Regional Planning Commission got money to go to every town and make sure they're updated. And then they stopped doing that and it's just catch as catch can kind of. Those letters can easily get set aside and forgotten when they come to the town.
okay.
I would actually change that though, Tara, and I would bold Public Works Director and put Town Manager not bolded. Because the DPW actually does it.
Yeah, and this is why, I mean, I just do a first crack at this, but want you to look closely because I had another town had me take out every department I mentioned and say everything's up to the town manager, period, because they work for that person. So it just varies by town. Definitely town by town.
I bet the town manager wasn't in the room when that was. But if we-
That may have been true. It was the selectmen got rid of that town soon after. Just to be clear. That town manager didn't last long after that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was a message of the town manager was supposed to be getting the department in line and wasn't.
So this next one, what do you guys want to do? I think if this is the town master plan, then I
Yeah.
would hold planning board.
Yeah,
And I would add select board and hold them too.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Resort Association, I mean, it only pays a portion of the overall transportation bus thing,
Well,
so
but
I don't know that.
Yeah, and it's a business.
But we're not saying to pay it, we're saying to explore it, right?
No, right. I'm saying that the planning board and the select board are the ones who
Yeah,
are really gonna drive that.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next one.
This is about making sure that you coordinate everything. Like, for example, when you guys were looking at Sununu's first phase there, Mark was good about making sure he's looking at what needs to happen with the sidewalk, with the road repairs.
Yeah, I think that looks good.
We should probably add town court.
Yeah,
committee,
yeah.
To this one,
Yes, I will.
yeah.
Okay. I think the next one looks good, right?
That's strictly enforced. Thank you.
I wouldn't bold planning board. Well, how do you mean enforce,
Yeah, true.
Tara?
I mean, like the planning board has been doing and making sure that subdivisions comply with the regulations.
But then there's post-approval enforcement. You're not talking about that, or?
But no, not if I'm saying well, both, I guess.
So should the
And
select
I
board
would
be,
bold both.
Yeah.
I have an issue.
Maintenance is later on is gonna be town manager and select board.
I have a basic issue.
Wait a minute, who am I bolding? If I'm adding town manager,
So I would bold planning board and select board.
yes,
And okay to add town manager?
Yeah,
Because you would be the one to bring it to the select board's attention.
yes. Right.
My issue with this is that, isn't that everyone's job to begin with? Why is it an action plan if that's your job?
Because it's it's a policy. These are the recommendations.
I'm just,
These are the
well,
recommendations,
if it's my job, I do it, but
because these are the recommendations. This is the list. I want you guys to have a joint meeting every year and make sure you're doing these things where it's a new thing. What step are you taking to work toward it? Or are you waiting for funding? If it's a policy, to make sure you're doing it.
That's good. All right,
It's one of the most important things you can do in terms of transportation that's in your control to keep costs and future hassles down.
right. And the town highways and roads regulations.
Mark, should you be in there too, or
Sure.
we're not gonna make this?
Not boldly.
We don't want to make you feel discouraged.
Size 6 font.
Yeah. Or 4. There's something there.
And then actually the next one is probably one where you could add the WVRA.
Yes.
Not bolded, but. Yeah,
I wasn't sure then who goes in. I got mixed information from different people on the ridership counts.
is there a count?
We don't do a count.
I didn't think that they were counted.
does the resort, or should the resort be doing a count? So
Should be
we
the
know,
operator, because they're the only
Yeah.
ones who can.
right?
'Cause
I mean,
they-
the guy that is there driving the shuttle bus?
A little clicker, a little hand clicker. It would be good
That's the
to
only
know,
way.
No, I understand, but I don't think that's a thing that we would want that person to have to do.
but it would be good to know what the rider.
No, the driver never does the count. There'd be somebody else along on the ride with a counter.
Yeah, so.
I mean, just like as a periodic check, if the townspeople are contributing to running the system, we should know.
It is not in the agreement. Right.
So then
There's only-
okay, so I got different input on this. It sounds like maybe it should say encourage or initiate periodic, and then put who in the town would kind of reach out to try to make that happen.
Why do we really, I mean,
Well,
we can see,
Well, no, you pay a lot of money as taxpayers
A lot.
yes,
to the bus system.
correct.
Maybe it's good to know how many people are using it during holiday
Absolutely.
weeks or other times of the year.
So,
So why would we not say encourage
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
conduct of surveys, ridership counts or ridership surveys? You can just say you're encouraging, it, you're not.
And I think the town manager should be on the bus now.
No.
Well, no, that's something that we could, but that is something that, Mike, we're not currently operating under a contract, an agreement with the resort, which runs it.
yeah, because,
It's lapsed.
Yeah.
And we're in the process of renegotiating. I mean, we could potentially put language in there for the town or the resort association,
X number of
Yeah.
times a year.
because we want to know what we're paying for.
Yeah.
And how much, every ride is, we don't have a good handle on the costs.
How's this then? I just
Well,
heard,
my
a select
boss,
board- I just heard a select board member say we should encourage it, so I put select board in.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go. No, I think that's good.
And you could put WVRA and
And
not bold.
WVRA, yeah.
In bold.
No, not bold.
Who gets bolded?
Select board?
The town, the select. board.
Select boards, because they're the ones who sign the contract.
Make them want to count. Otherwise, it costs more money to take something.
And it's not just that, but to make sure that the routes and timing and all are. what they should be.
Exactly.
Those are all issues.
Yep.
Yes, they
Yeah,
are, because
yeah, it's
sometimes the
just-
driver does.
Just standard practice, really. But I
Alright.
think you say it's not being done, so it's important to have in here.
Culvert inventory.
I
should-
would say drainage system. Conduct a drainage system assessment and culvert inventory.
I add the words important there. Because there are some issues with some of the culverts.
Should we add the Concom to that?
I would have, yes, I would have DPW as the bold.
Wait, 1 second, I want to finish it's here. I want to say evaluate, because we say assessment.
Yes,
Um,
I think you're correct.
Okay, so, all right, now who's responsible?
I would say DPW is responsible, town manager, select board, and conservation commission. Because it's a water quality issue.
Transportation line about ridership counts.
Yeah.
Did you want to put the budgetary analysis review? Like we've been trying to do.
No, I think if we get the ridership counts, we use that to evaluate that against how much money we're paying.
It's one of those yes buts.
Yeah, well, if we understand how many people are using. it,
Exactly.
Holiday season, not,
Right.
you know, I mean.
Yeah.
it Gives us some.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So needed
Now I
improvements,
think you will have a lot of
stormwater.
questions.
All right, so next one for the stormwater infrastructure.
Stormwater infrastructure.
Plan and budget for the, after we do the inventory and assessment, we need to plan and budget for the improvement.
Stormwater inspection and maintenance, site plan, subdivision, approved, that looks good to me.
Can we go back to transportation for a second? I know that there is also an issue with the shuttle where there is a shortage of qualified drivers. I know this because I know that. some
Yeah,
of
we all
them-
know that, yeah.
I don't know if that's something that I can blame Rich for. I always love Rich. What elected officials before? No. I agree. But I don't know if that's something that we have to somehow make note of. That I know that some shuttle road things were canceled, for example, in the last couple of weeks.
Well, the agreement is that
I don't know
the
what
town and the WPRA help with the funding, but that operations and maintenance are the responsibility of the resort. So I personally wouldn't add anything in here.
Operations wise, yeah.
We were thinking of from a budgetary standpoint, but again, it's nothing that we're gonna tell them how to run.
We can't,
I think that's an operating.
yeah.
We wouldn't propose alternate solutions. Like, I think the sticking point is the CDL. So,
It is.
you know. what if
No, I'm
we-
just saying that when we talk about transportation and we're talking about the shuttle, if we know that there is an issue with the ability of the shuttle to run.
Well,
Is that an issue that we have to include in this? I'm just asking,
Maybe,
I'm just asking, because that's the job.
to operate a 15-passenger van.
can you go,
And I'm not allowed to get one because I'm over.
can you go back up, Tara, please, and say,
I apologize for not bringing it up.
how about, well, wait a minute, how about continue in number 90, yeah, can we, say that, support and promote the evaluation of the transportation system, or the evaluation and use of the shuttle bus system, and just say that word evaluate.
Okay, I'm just saying that
Yeah, I understand.
I know it is an issue.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about an action plan,
Yeah.
and it is an issue, I don't know how to do it, but
I didn't get the wording or
So continue to evaluate and evaluate, support, and promote the use of the shuttle bus system. I would expand it
okay,
to be that.
okay.
Yeah, I think that captures it.
Is that,
Yep.
I'm just,
that's a good point, that you gotta evaluate, because that's kind of what we're getting at with the ridership.
Well, and
That's
it's,
a specific thing, but
it's
you
also,
also
like-
have to look at the rest of the system.
well, it's also like what the SE group helped figure out the two different loops
Exactly.
when we did the pedestrian
That's
study.
yes,
So,
Yeah, that's good, thank you.
okay.
all right, so where are we on now for the,
Stormwater,
94,
94.
okay, include
Sorry.
stormwater inspection and maintenance.
and we've been doing that. We've
Yep.
started doing that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, good, okay, so, ensure future development. Yeah,
that's fine.
that works too, right?
Yep.
I don't have a problem with 95.
Yeah, should we add town core to that?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay,
Identify and implement opportunities, traffic calming. You want? you
Is
want
the
public-
town core work, is the town core working group bold?
Yes, I would say, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen.
Yeah.
what is a traffic calming device?
like the numbers
hump.
flashing.
A speed bump, a bump out along the sides where you actually design the road to narrow.
Rotary in the middle.
Rotaries are calming.
Should the public work,
I didn't know.
It's even broader than that. Sidewalks,
Sidewalks.
on-street parking, just visual clues to people that it's a pedestrian active place, like your trail signs, lamp posts.
Yeah.
It's visual clues to the driver that. they-
Bike head lane.
bike
should-
lanes.
should public works be bolded there, or
I would say,
our Department of Public Safety?
I would actually put town manager, department heads in bold, and then select board in the.
Wait a second, that was too much for my brain.
Oh, that's okay. Town manager, department heads, because there are multiple department heads involved.
is that a planning board issue also?
And then I would unbold select board. And then I'd add, yes, planning
I
board
think
as well.
we somehow have to get involved in that.
Well, you should be thinking about that every time.
Right.
Plan.
Every time. I do that.
Are we adding town core working group?
No, I'd add planning board.
Okay,
Do you want the temple?
I mean, either way, if the planning board's in it, the town
Planning
core
board
is,
is in
I
it.
mean,
Is
you
that by
know,
definition?
so
No,
do we
I feel-
add it or not?
no,
Okay,
No.
all right.
All right, so the bike path system,
Right, and we need a lead here.
should that be the town core working group? Yeah. Town core. Okay,
DPW, aren't they involved in the actual construction of?
No, it's contractors. It's, they're covered under.
Okay. Okay.
is this for the improvement of better coordinated village core parking? Ooh,
I
I don't know what that
I would
means.
hold select board.
Yeah,
Whoa,
Okay,
we punted on that.
Not as of last night,
well, what did you do last night? You could do something good.
they decided to have a meeting.
all right.
I'm not laughing.
Come on, I'm just trying to push through, we can do this, encourage shared and other flexible parking arrangements.
I would
That's
also hold.
bold select board there, yeah.
What is a shared parking arrangement?
We have several easements where it's public, private use of parking areas. Like Rich said, we don't have any town parking lots.
Well, that's what I'm asking, what a shared arrangement is. I
Oh,
thought
a shared,
Well,
all
have
of them were
here.
private.
Like what's right out front here, it's
Well,
shared,
that's owned by the
And it's
resort.
shared by
but
others.
it's shared by,
It's shared.
so shared can mean, you know,
Okay.
there are places
Never
that.
mind. I apologize for that.
all right, so,
There are a couple other ways that we look at shared parking, and one might be that one business owner has extra space in theirs, so you allow another business to lease that, and you approve
Yep.
that as part of the site plan approval, or it can be time-wise. There are businesses that use parking at different times of the day. The idea is that
But we don't do that.
Yes,
we do.
We
That's
do.
what all
Yeah.
those parking
and
spots
so
are.
that's in your regulations.
It's in our regulations.
That's not in time or anything.
It's one of the things we've updated in your regulations to allow that flexibility and not have excess parking, excess pavement.
all right, so with the EV chargers,
That's fine.
So I had a note to make sure we have the public-private partnership in here, and here it is.
yep, there it is.
I would put the town energy.
Oh, yeah.
Renewable energy committee there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
It would make them bread.
What's it called?
It's the town renewable energy committee. They're an official select board.
Take them in charge.
No, they don't have any legal.
They report.
Mark, is town in their name?
Yes, it is
Okay,
actually.
all right, just checking. All right,
Yeah.
so, and then is the town core working group in there too?
No,
We have not. had it
chargers
working.
now.
You don't think that's something that should be on the radar? So that should-
Chargers?
We'll talk about EV vehicle replacement and
Okay,
it's too much.
It's enough, it's a.
We
How about
we
the
do that, we do that
WVRA be in
too.
there since it's public-private, or?
We,
Could be.
I think the resort association
I
should be
think they
added,
should
not
be,
the town board.
Yeah, I agree. Are the heads of like condo associations part of that?
I don't know if there's any organization of them.
Yeah, that's too bad, because
Yeah,
that
it
would
would
make
be
sense,
helpful.
wouldn't it?
Yeah,
If there were,
Because it'd be easy to get a hold of them.
They
Yeah,
have
hard to get over.
representation, they actually have
representation.
intentional representation on the renewable energy committee. There's
Okay.
several condos represented, so.
and who should be bolded in this?
Anybody but me.
All right, well, undo you.
I think the renewable energy committee.
Yeah,
would
renewable
you?
energy committee.
I mean, that's
guess.
what they're there for.
Well, I
Still
expect them to
recommend.
then
Yeah.
report to the select board.
They're gonna keep nudging, so.
Yeah.
I think that's a good.
I mean, there's gonna be a ton of grant money for those, so this is the right time.
That's good.
So adequate public parking. Should the planning board be on that too?
Yeah, maybe none of it's public parking. That's not really
But I have a
a
question.
planning board rule.
Oh,
Is there
okay.
any public, the public parking mean that is somehow provided by the town?
Yes,
Yes.
So my understanding is that there is currently no,
actually there is,
there is.
on Valley Road,
On Valley.
across from the golf club.
Oh.
On street, on
Oh,
street.
yeah.
Yeah, plus it's the consideration of on-street parking, so it's part of.
Yeah, I would bold the select board in that one.
Wouldn't planning board be here just because we consider on-street parking? So we should be,
It's not really under your purview to consider on-street parking.
but
As a planning board, it's a select board function.
The only place the planning board
it
has,
has come before us.
We have, yeah.
Public parking?
Oh,
as
I guess
opposed to-
It's private parking if it's on.
On public
private
space.
No, it's not.
Oh,
public.
what about the
All
public
that Tyrell
parking on the
parking
street?
is private parking.
Yeah.
That is allowed.
It's privately owned, and there are easements for other private companies. What we're talking about here is town-owned land being used
Oh,
for
no,
parking,
no, that's fine.
Yeah,
right?
public
Right,
parking.
right, right.
Yeah, public parking.
but if I could clarify, it's great that there's good communication between the town manager and select board and planning board, and that planning board input is sought on a lot of things. What I was saying is the only time the planning board would technically have a role would be if they wanted to approve on-street or other public parking as meeting part of the parking requirement for a site.
CIP. CIP would mean that we have to be involved.
Well, everything in this chapter would be that planning board under the CIP.
Yeah, but I mean, the other issue with, for example, that on-street parking is what happens to on-street parking when you put a bike lane?
Well, that's for the selectmen.
But again, that's not.
That's
that's
select
not under
board,
the
is that
planning
planning
board
board,
purview.
or is that both? Good,
Okay,
as long
so
as that.
it's fine then.
I like that.
Mike raised a good, I would add the town hall working group to 102, not bolded.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
When you do work like that, you're more using your master planning authority than anything, which is great.
Right.
It's great that you look at that broader than a lot of towns.
Thank you, Mike, that's a good one. Town board.
So I'm gonna suggest that we stop after 103, just because we're going on 11 o'clock.
Okay,
So carefully monitor year-round population trends. I think that is just a school board thing, right? As a lead.
I would say school board, select board, and town manager with the school board bold. Because, and maybe even the recreation department, along with after town manager, and make the school board the bolded one. Because and the reason that I add those three from the town is because the town facilities are in the school, and the space needs need to be coordinated. So
I hate the last sentence.
What?
I hate where it says consider portable classroom.
I would say consider or consider possible solutions for classroom space needs or something like.
I mean,
or whatever.
right, I mean, basically,
Where needed.
my latest assessment is that the school theoretically could accommodate up to about 75 kids if God help us. Um,
75?
75, another 20 children?
God help us.
No, where are they gonna go?
They're gonna actually sit in chairs?
Hot chair.
Well, it depends on, yeah,
No,
If we're not gonna say portable classrooms, if we're not gonna talk about an interim,
What's the action?
consider alternative,
alternative.
alternative solutions for additional classroom needs as necessary.
As needed, or if needed.
Yeah. if
all right,
needed.
hold on a minute. The point, all right, I guess this is a different thought than the first sentence, because what I've been hearing through the whole time we've been doing the master plan is we don't know how much is gonna be needed because we don't know how many people are gonna stay. I think that was the reason for thinking about an interim solution while you do see, right? So that, you don't wanna say that? You don't wanna talk about an interim solution?
No, because it's not turning into an interim solution.
Okay, all right, so give me that wording again here.
Or maybe,
Consider alternative solutions to
increase school
increase classroom
population
needs
growth.
as-
I can't hear two people, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, consider alternative solutions to school population if needed.
Well, you're not solving
In
the
classroom space if needed.
That's given, that's a given.
And it's a given, but that's,
So what's?
I mean, the issue that you have is,
I don't
It's a-
want to.
it's a planning
I don't wanna say it on Temporary outside.
No, I hear you, but.
That's all. It's,
Okay, I think we got that.
I
Okay,
mean, it is a major issue that if we think we're gonna have much more than we have now, then we have a building solution which goes into school CIP, which goes into. I mean, it is something that we talked about, but we have no clue where the school population is gonna be 2, 3, 3, 4, 5 years from now.
Right.
It's gonna be up, it's gonna be down.
okay.
yeah.
So if we put a pin in there and, all right, so Tara, we'll have the rest of this chapter 8, or the action plan rather. What else would you foresee for us to need to plan? Just finishing this? Sorry, I thought I heard you say something about recapping recreation. Do we not need to do that?
Well, there's very few changes. I mean, I think you're moving kind of toward a third draft of all the rest of the plan and a second draft of this. So I want you to just look at it all together as a whole and then decide if you want to make any other changes before public hearing. I can draft the paragraph for the beginning of this chapter and share what I have in mind for layout when we meet to finish these recommendations.
Okay,
But then the next step is for everybody to look at it as a whole rather than chapter by chapter and decide if you're ready for a public hearing.
so how would you recommend the best way to do that? Should we plan a workshop to finish and do that type of thing to give you time to pull things together for a rough, like, what's the best timing in for us to do this?
Well, it doesn't, I mean, there's a few pieces hanging out there and you need to finish this, and that's not a whole meeting. So I don't think it makes sense to schedule an interim.
Okay.
for
Okay,
this, but I think it might very well make sense to talk now about a workshop meeting later in July
okay,
to do that thing where you look at the whole, because it's not going to take me long after your July meeting to be ready to send that out to you. I'll assuming everybody gets me pieces soon that I'm missing, and you just, and all we're doing then is making those final changes to the action plan so that I can copy and paste it into the actual document. So, if we could make like July 28th, just to throw out something, you could be looking at the whole document at that meeting to decide if you're ready for public hearing.
Okay, I think that makes sense, because our regular meeting will be on the 14th, so then following that 2 week, that would give everyone time to.
So if I make sure that everybody has it in hand for a week. Right? So I'd send it out by the end of the following week, and then
So we'd have it by the 22nd.
Yes.
And I would have that week. Would that work for all present today? Does that timing work?
I need to move something, but I can move it.
Okay. Vance?
For when's meeting?
28th.
July 28th. If she gets us this is for.
So we'll have the interim meeting then.
That would be the interim. She'll get us the full thing the 22nd. Yeah. How about everyone out in Zoom land there?
I probably can't make the 28th or 29th, whatever it is, but that's it.
Okay, Bill?
Yes. Bill Spence says, okay.
Okay, Bill Larson? Oh, you're muted, Bill.
I should be all right.
Okay,
And that might give you the opportunity to have the public hearing in August while there's some summer folks around.
right. How exciting that could be. Okay. And to put this in our rearview mirror.
Optimistic, as always.
28th.
So this the usual 8 o'clock?
I'm sorry, hold on one second. We're just talking about an interim meeting because July.
July 28th.
Tara's wanting us to plan ahead for July because we can finish going through everything at our regularly scheduled meeting on the 14th. By the 22nd, she'll get us the full thing. And then we'll be able to have that week ahead of the 28th to review it and do a workshop. for that.
On my operating system, it's all up to here, so. I have multiple operations coming down and
Okay.
see what happens.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I just looked at my calendar. I can make the 28th.
okay, cool. So- No.
Just this meeting.
Next meeting is July
Next meeting,
14th,
July.
our regular time. And then-
Yeah, I don't want to see you have a whole meeting just for what's
July
left.
6th, operational, yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, Tara, what did you say?
Just, I was confirming that I don't think it's worth an extra meeting in June.
Right.
to finish this.
Okay. Good.
So we're gonna hold off on everything else on the agenda?
I was just gonna say the land acknowledgement, the Conservation Commission has requested that we table that until our July meeting because the members of the commission had wanted to be present to discuss it. So, yes, that was gonna be tabled until the 14th. Or there was a request, and unless if anyone has a problem with that. From what I understand from the workshop I missed, there was some discussion about the land acknowledgement. And I would just like to reiterate that it would be helpful, because I know there are all different sides and any information that folks have that they're looking at, perhaps share it with Alicia, so she could send it to the rest of the group, so we could all, have a more well-rounded discussion and concise discussion on the 14th.
Was everybody on the list that, the email that was sent with the links to it? With the,
I'm not sure which email. That's why I think it's important to make
Okay,
sure
so
we
I'll-
go
I'll-
Yeah, I
through
was
a
planning
list.
on, I knew that they were going to ask for it.
Okay,
The German, tabling till July, so I was gonna put together what I wanted to put together and get it out prior to that.
Yeah, but just
Right.
send it
Why
to
don't we send it to
Alicia.
Alicia and she'll put it all together in one
Yep.
mailing? so we don't
Exactly.
get 12 different ones, 'cause
Sure.
we
Exactly.
miss something. I
Yes.
wouldn't want to miss.
Okay.
anything.
Can
Yeah.
I make just one general statement, while you're getting toward the end of the plan?
Yes.
And I know there might, be some people that don't like this, but as you're getting close to the end of the plan and close to adopting this as your recommendations, I just wanted to share that, what the plan is the consensus of the planning board. And that's gonna mean that not everybody has everything in there exactly how they want, but everybody's comfortable with everything in there. That's my idea of consensus as a planner. So, if we end up with a couple of controversial things that not everybody's comfortable with, my recommendation is gonna be that we don't include those.
Okay.
So I just wanted to share that, the general statement now.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. We'll shoot for comfort.
Good, that's
Um,
positive.
All right.
Memory foam.
Yeah, exactly.
Business class instead of coach. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
it's okay.
Business class is good on that. like-
Well, once I had a call at the Regional Planning Commission asking about what's the right way to handle a minority opinion on a planning board on a master plan. I said, if you have a minority opinion on your master plan, you need to go back to the drawing board. Because that's not a consensus. And you guys are representing the community. This needs to represent the consensus of the community.
Mm. Yeah, that's important.
Agree on anything.
Wow.
Oh, boy, no pressure. Okay.
Good luck to us.
Yeah.
Didn't get back to the.
So-
Can't say, nobody in Washington listens to that.
Yeah, I know. So let's
No, local planning is about the only place it happens, and that's why I enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Nice. All right, let's move on for committee reports. For town core, we haven't met yet for this month, but we'll be meeting next Tuesday, working on the bike path. Mark, you
bike path
probably
is
more,
built.
yes,
And the signs are on order.
the path, it,
Okay.
does it continue, the bike path from the adventure center around the arena? I saw the path and I actually
Very
walked
nice.
it
I did a great job.
across through the disc golf. Did they work on the cross-country path to
The
finish it?
cross-country path is cleared.
Yeah.
And the signage will put people on the correct path. So it won't go off to the left where it
It
goes.
was just curved.
It'll curve around to the right and come
Yeah.
out onto what's Valley Road at that point. And then
Right,
it will have signs across the street to get them going on the Boulder path.
right.
Are you
But,
going to
we
make
had-
a bike path lane on
There is
Valley
a-
Road?
There-
Eventually.
Eventually.
It's part
yeah,
of
it's-
the
yes.
plan.
But I
And
mean,
most of
lined,
us-
lined on the.
Yes.
Yes, it's, yeah, an 8 foot wide pedestrian bicycle lane,
Eventually, but Valley Road isn't.
hopefully
on
starting
the-
this year.
Well, not for Valley Road, though.
For a small portion of it, from Village to Snowsburg Boulder Path, that's Valley there.
Yeah, okay.
So there's that little
Okay,
portion
that
of
little
it,
bit,
but
yeah.
you're right, not
Yeah.
down, going all the way past,
Right,
and, the Athletic Club
To
and
the
all the way
village,
to Triple.
village to village.
okay.
Village to Village, yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Village.
So,
Right, in front of me.
and I'm sorry, what did you say about the signage? It's being,
The signage, we have the sign, what it should look like. We're gonna be working with Megaprint.
Mhm.
And we have a plan with Jim to put those signs up.
Okay.
As soon as they're. made.
okay, great. So the town is basically taking the lead on the,
Yes.
everything. Okay,
The
Great.
bike path slash country path is dirt, correct?
It's actually now crushed stone and stone dust.
So
That's
that-
been compacted.
the one that's
That-
here,
The one that's.
The old-
but the one that's also
No, the one
across country.
through the woods.
Oh, the one through
That's-
the woods is just the cross-country ski trail.
which is,
that they grew.
right, which is good.
It's just, yeah, it's.
So then on days like today, it's just mud.
Well.
That wasn't a critique, it was an observation.
Bicyclist life, right?
Yes.
No, what wasn't a critique, it was an
Yeah.
observation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
All
that's
right.
correct.
I don't know if the Conservation Commission gave anything to you, Mark,
No.
too? Okay, or Steve? Nothing? Okay, so nothing for that. Any communications for us?
Nope.
Steve, no? Okay. So then our next meeting, July 14, same time, same place,
Rock and roll.
with the follow-up workshop on the 28th for the master plan. Anything else for this board to consider today?
The ZBA meeting.
No. it's
That was a
just
minor
variance.
thing, right?
It's
Yeah,
minor
for a
variance
little-
request.
Yeah,
So we don't have to be involved in that?
You'll get notice of what that decision is, and then if the board wants to take an action on the decision, then you can do that.
You can go as a resident of
You
the
can go
town,
as
but not as planning board doesn't have to say.
okay. Motion to adjourn.
I so move.
I so second,
All right, all those in favor?
Mike Capella,
Nancy, yes?
Wendy Rathgeber, yes.
Rich Rita, yes.
Bill?
Bill Spence, yes.
Bill Larson, yes.
Alan
Al?
Berco, yes.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Dave.
Have a great
Thank you.
day.